Hello and welcome to episode 15 of the Booze and Tunes podcast. As always, I am your host, Thomas T. Rads Radsley. Slight golf clap for that one. We're going to review this, and I did just mispronounce my own last name. As always, my co-host and cohort, Lee Woogie Wogo. Golf clap for that one. Bring them in. Joining us, as always, our resident Charlie Day wild card, Arco Grimbeard Veery. And we need no golf clap to introduce our amazing, special, decorated guest, Eric Butler of Mom Jeans. Give it up, ladies and gentlemen. Hey. What an amazing guest. Thank you so much for joining us.
Welcome to the show, homeboy.
Of course.
Yep. And
thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
How are you feeling on this Saturday evening, afternoon?
You know, I think probably the same as much as anybody else. It could be better, could be worse.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Amen to that. Just keep living.
It's my mantra.
Keep on.
Could be better,
living.
Could be worse. The best. I've been way better. I've been way worse.
But we've all been to the low points as well.
Exactly.
All right, so we start before the band, as we always try to.
Mm-hmm.
UC Berkeley.
Sure. Whoa. Yeah, what about it?
The foundation was placed.
Yeah, no, I mean, I honestly, if you want to go back even further, my foundation is kind of, at least with this band, kind of goes a little bit before that. Our bass player, Sam, is in a band called Just Friends that you guys might know about.
Yep. Of course, shout out Just Friends.
Yeah, shouts out to Just Friends, JF Crew for life, baby.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of my formative experiences, being like a young high schooler and deciding that I wanted to try being in a band and try playing music that wasn't in like a jazz band or like wind ensemble format, but was that in like DIY gigs, shows, and touring.
Hell
and stuff.
Yeah,
something spicy.
Yeah, and Just Friends was my introduction to that. They were a band long before Mom Jeans was. Their first show was actually in my garage with the ska band that I was in high school. And yeah, I had just a lot of experiences early on in high school with people who were like in bands, and none of them had really like toured or anything, but they were just doing it and doing shows. I thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So meeting Sam and meeting those people and kind of starting to go to shows and just stuff just in my hometown, like not even going to Oakland or whatever, like the suburbs and like Pleasanton, California, like
right.
fields and stuff like that, like real gritty like hometown stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I fell in love with the idea of just like, I don't know, a community based like music scene.
Hell yeah.
That wasn't really like structured and was just people doing whatever they wanted to do. And then when I came to UC Berkeley and when I went to college, I already knew that being in a band and like trying to play music and make music with other people was something that I wanted to do.
Well, that's awesome.
It was very, very hard on my mind. And also like just, I come from like, I'm very privileged to come from a really great music education background. My high school music program was incredible. Like shouts out to my high school band teacher, Mr. Green.
Shout him out.
And even like the drummer of Just Friends and trombone player from Just Friends, like Chris, like they went to the same high school that I went to. Like we were in marching band together and stuff. And we had a really, really amazing like educational foundation for music. And so I was taught really, really early from a very young age to just like appreciate music and to let it have a role in my life. And so, coming to school, I was very adamant that I wanted to meet other people and try to play music with them. I was in the marching band too. So I was already a little bit involved with music on campus, but from like a rock music perspective, like there's always been kind of like that hard line for me. I don't know. Like nobody teaches you how to play like electric guitar, like in high school.
Not in a high school band anyways.
But in the same sense, like jazz bands and like orchestras and all of that, like that's as much a real avenue.
Oh, of course.
Venue. Musician as anything else. And actually like growing up in that environment, you're kind of taught that like playing guitar in a band or like writing your own songs and like singing them is the last way that you're ever going to make a living
Right.
making music. You know, the industry's not set up that way, at least for being like a quote unquote like professional musician with like a performance degree.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very not much set up for that. And so I was very much under the impression that music was just going to be something that I got to do for fun and was just like a big hobby for me. It was like how I based my identity and who I am as a person and just like what my interests are and like who I wanted to hang out with. It was like the music
Right.
that I listened to. And I knew that I wanted to be involved in like a rock or like, you know, like I guess a
Right.
joke, like not real band or just like something where we
Mhm.
wrote original music because I thought it would be fun. And it
Right.
just like, I knew that's something I wanted to do.
And here we are.
So here we are. And then, so when and it's hilarious how like, honestly, like the first person that I met and hung out with my first night of college was Austin.
And you met
who,
him that night.
I met him my first night. Like we literally went out
Yep.
drinking, and I held his head while he puked into the sink
No.
like, in the dorm.
Ah, fuck! I was gonna bring that up. God damn it!
I don't want to like. I hope he's not mad at me for like blowing over or anything, but like that's like it was literally like, and it was literally first week of like university, like drunk welcome week bonding, and
Hell yeah.
we hung out a lot of originally like at the beginning just because of circumstance. Like he was on my
Mhm.
floor and turned out that he liked skateboarding and he played drums. I was a trombone player in high school, and
Right.
so Austin also plays trumpet, and so like he was another person that I really connected with over having that like hard educational foundation in music,
Right.
but also like loving like rock bands and like loving
Yeah.
pop punk music and like loving
Right.
Story So Far and shit
Yeah.
like that, and wanting to do that and wanting to navigate both of those worlds. And so I latched on to Austin pretty quickly and knew that I wanted to be
And
friends
you
with him.
two started working on the spring demo in
Yeah,
2014. I assume that was your first year of college, correct?
Yeah, that was our first year of college. It was like 2013, 2014, that school
Mhm.
year. So we met and like became friends and started really hanging out like the first half of that year. And then the idea of like playing, actually like getting the guitars out and like jamming and like playing
Right.
music together in dorm rooms and stuff. And that's how the spring demo came to be, because I thought I was so cool, honestly. Like I thought like no, like I listen to Modern Baseball and Joyce Manor and like all these bands, and like I'm so nobody listens to like like I thought I was so cool. I'm not gonna front, like I thought I was the shit when I was 18. Like I'm not gonna lie.
We
And,
still
Well, if you ask us, you still are the shit, as you may have thought back in those days.
and the funny thing is like these are still all bands that like Sam showed me. Like you know what I mean? I was just like, I love Just Friends. Like, what do you listen to? And he was like, check out Joyce Manor and Say Anything, and that
Right.
started.
Yeah.
Well, I was actually going to say that too. It's cool to know that you had like a jazz background. I mean, maybe not so much jazz as it is to Just Friends, but Just Friends has like the weird. It's like a funk pop like aspect that not a lot of the DIY community really
When
has.
have music degrees, like
Right,
for
and they're
sure.
just, but they're so funky, man. We saw them live. Actually, Sad Summer, you guys were there. That was why we went. And the set that they performed that night was just like, it just has this energy about it because of like the funk influences and stuff that, I mean, obviously came from a musical background. So it's kind of cool to get an idea of them behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, and I think like if nothing else, I think people are really drawn to authenticity and like as far as like speaking on behalf of just friends and like what their background is and where they come from, like we're all band geeks. Like that's
Hell yeah.
that's who we were in high school. That's who we are. And Just Friends really lends itself to that because
Hell yeah.
like we're horn players. We're good at music and we're not that cool. You know, that's how it goes. I think being authentic with who you are, and like we're not necessarily playing like they're not playing horns because they think it's cool or because they think it's like a gimmick or that thinks it's gonna make them stand out. Like
Right.
horn players in the band, those are the instruments that people play. And
Yeah.
Yellow card and their violinist.
yeah, exactly. And like I think being true to yourself is like a big first step in being a band and like being an artist that people kind of skip sometimes.
Right.
So yeah, I thought I was so sick and I thought I was so cool for like listening to all this like quote unquote alternative music, and I started hanging out with Austin and like he listened to all the same bands.
Well, that's how a lot of bonds are made.
Yeah, and I think the main one, I don't know if y'all have heard of a band called Sports from Boston.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
We're from
Yeah,
Boston,
so, like,
me and Andrew.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Close.
So I mean, our first tour, like US tour that we ever did, was with Sports. Chris is like one of my oldest like music friends, and so the only reason I knew about that band at the time is because a good friend of mine, Alex Pickert, who's been like in a bunch of really really awesome bands and works for some awesome venues. Like he was managing them at the time. Like I'm in college and like I'm gonna like and I go to Berkeley School of Music, so let me manage your band. And I saw him sharing their music on Facebook. I was like, there's no way that anybody I'm gonna come across on this side of the country is gonna know about this band, let alone like them and want to play in a band that sounds like that.
And
Austin
lo
had
and
the
behold,
had the EP on his computer, and I was just like, how? Wait, like I'm not.
that's
the only
awesome.
person. And
That
it
is
was,
so
it was
awesome.
it was very natural from there, and
Right.
I've been tied to him musically since then.
Well, hell yeah. I mean, that sounds like a great way to especially introduce yourself to different musicians that you may not have gotten in cahoots with earlier.
Destiny.
totally.
Before we get into the nitty gritty of it, though, we have been neglecting our mainstay. Lee Wargo, hit me with a wheel spin.
This one?
Wheel spin.
Spin around.
I'm gonna have to use my finger again.
You would. We have several
Lyrics.
different options. What is it? Lyrics? All right, I got one.
It's a little game.
I tell you a lyric, you tell me who or what song. I'll take either or. Fine by me. Let me
Easier.
start with.
And me and Lee don't know either. We're kind of like contestants.
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
everybody's guessing.
Yeah. We're not just
Here now,
Anyone else
don't make
hear
a
it?
sound. Say, have you heard the news today? One flag was taken down to raise another in its place.
Sounds like Rise Against for some reason, but I don't think it is.
It's not.
I have no idea.
Veery's
That doesn't
hurting
sound
right
like
now. I
anything
could tell.
that I
I could tell he's hurt because
Yeah,
he knows
well, you
this
just-
one.
Yeah, because I do, and I never gonna have it.
Close to that,
All right, we'll have to give you a little bit of rhythm there.
Spice it up, yeah.
Here now, don't make a sound. Say, have you heard the news today? One flag was taken down to raise another in its place.
That's got to be Creed.
Nickelback.
What?
I did the worst disservice to one of my favorite bands. That is Foo Fighters, Long Road to Ruin.
Oh wow! I didn't know that song.
That's great. That's probably my favorite Foo song ever.
Come on.
What'd you say?
That one off of?
That's
What
Echo,
album is that
Silence,
one off?
Patience, and Grace.
Oh, see, that's not one of the records that's like in my hardcore rotation. I'm a hardcore color in the shape, and there's nothing left to lose. Like I only listen to those two records.
Color and the
Yeah,
shape stayed in the
Color
car.
and the Shape is, I mean, that's probably.
Stayed in the
Actually, I
radio.
have a poster of "There's Nothing Left to Lose" behind me.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah!
love
Well, okay. So the idea of that one was something that we'll get into later. You've been quoted as saying, if you guys like the Foo Fighters, you'll probably like this next one. But we're gonna get into that one.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
We're gonna get into that one.
I remember that.
So we had Spring Demo May 2014. The 6-track self-titled EP, Fourth Row Records. True or false? It was only released on cassette.
True. I mean
And
CDs.
That
probably.
was all
I burned-
acoustic.
The spring demo or the
No.
self-titled?
The 6-track EP. You guys went electric and added Josh and David.
That was all full band. Yeah.
Right.
My friend Matt from high school played drums on that. Because Austin was actually supposed to be our guitar player at the time. Yeah, it's a weird story, but
It's cool how
yeah,
it
the
happens,
self-titled
though.
was our first
Right.
time trying to take. It was pretty much Austin and I had written these songs, and we both could imagine them being played in a full band, and just wanted to hear it actually, I guess, like done and executed. And so the self-titled was kind of our attempt to see if we could make something that sounded like a band that we would listen to
Right.
on our own at home without like paying money to somebody. And like Austin like did all of that on like his little like tiny like interface and on Pro Tools and stuff, and just figured it
Work.
out and did it all
That's
himself.
awesome.
Oh shit,
Gotta
this is
figure- hey, that's-
possible.
That's the
DIY,
definition
yeah.
of DIY, man.
Holy shit.
So Allergic, also 2014. First
Yeah.
semi-official release. Not really on the internet too much anymore. You're gonna have to look for that on YouTube. It's not on the Bandcamp.
Yeah, that you're gonna have to, yeah, you're go to YouTube for that one.
Right. And that was just Birkenstock and Jorts. Two songs that
Yeah.
are actually widely
was,
still loved amongst the diehard Mom Jeans fans.
I get messages about those on a weekly basis. Kind of annoying, but yeah,
Hey.
no, that was, I don't know, we hadn't like no shade, but at the time, you know, like when you're in a band and like nobody cares about your band, right? Like people make different decisions than they would if they knew that like people were someday going to care about your band.
Right.
And at the time, like the dude Josh who was playing guitar for us, like he wanted to be in Title Fight. that's just-
He just wanted to
Well, the
rip Head
funny
the
thing,
Ceiling
like-
fan over and over.
Well, and the funny thing was the reason why I actually met him was because I saw him. It was this kid who played bass in the jazz band at Cal in a modern baseball live video
Oh,
in SoCal. And I was like, I know this dude. Like, he's in jazz band. And I was like, do you like modern baseball? Like, you want to be in our band? Like, it was literally that silly of a conversation. And yeah, homie wanted to be in Title Fight. And like, that just wasn't. And I wanted to be modern baseball. It really
Right.
was that simple.
Right.
Like, I wanted to be in Joyce Manor. I wanted to be in Say Anything. Like, those were the bands that like I saw myself like wanting to be playing guitar in.
great choices,
And
though.
I feel you.
no, and like I love Title Fight as much as the next guy. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if you listen to Best Buds, like it's not hard to see that like I really wasn't into distorted guitars or like like abrasive, like in your face. Like I was really trying to channel the Midwest emo like
Oh,
energy
definitely.
the best that and so yeah, that just really didn't the Allergic EP was kind of like our attempt to humor him and like write more dirty kind of like punk sounding songs,
Right.
but also like we've neglected to mention that up till this point we weren't even writing any of the songs. Like it was all just rip-offs of other people's music. It was literally the front bottoms and modern baseball songs.
Hey, well, that's how it happens
Lyrics
sometimes,
on
though,
it
because you
and
got to take
melodies on it.
those.
Well, I'll tell you what, anybody who has been in a band and has tried to play shows knows that like you need recorded music to show people what the fuck you sound like
Right.
before anybody will even
Show up.
like tolerate the
Consider.
idea of
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's like think about yourself. Like, would you go out on a limb and book a show for somebody that you don't know what they sound like? Like, absolutely not.
No,
And
no, I would not.
in terms, and so no matter who your friends are, no matter what band you were in before, like people just aren't going to do that. And for me, like music has always been like a real big feedback loop of like experience. Like I don't feel like I learn anything about anything unless I do it. I don't feel like I learn how to write songs unless I do it. I don't feel like I learn how to record music unless I just do it. I don't feel like I learn how to play shows unless I just do it. And I've always been really afraid of, just being the kind of person who like sits in their room pontificating, talking about all the things that I'd like to do and never acting on any of those things. And so
And
like,
you have
really
acted,
important.
though.
Well, that was my way at the time of just being like, well, like I don't really know how to do this. I just know that I want to, so I'm going to take these songs that I know that I like and kind of restructure them in a way that my silly ass, who like literally I started playing guitar when I was 18. Like I have no idea how to play guitar. I did not know how to play guitar. Austin was a better guitar player than me, is still in some ways a better guitar player than I am. And I make it work because I was just like, I want to be in a band. I want to feel what that feels like. Those people that are in those bands, like not even the success aspect, but just like they just seem happy and they seem like they have the world by the balls and like they are living their life the way that they want to. And I've always been very, very attracted to that, like kind of like me against the world mentality.
Well, it does seem like that when you're performing too, coming from a couple of people who have seen you perform numerous times live. You guys, it's a control over the crowd you guys really have that's just kind of unexplainable unless you're there. It's a grasping thing. It enthralls everybody around because they just want to pay attention to this act in front of them. And that says a lot because there are a lot of acts out there who can't command a crowd like that, can't control how people are feeling in that crowd. But you know what? Most of those people are there to have a good time, and I think you guys really exude the essence of having a great time.
You have your own party on stage, and everybody wants to be part of it.
That's why we're there, man. And like, at least I can only speak for myself. I can't even necessarily like speak for my bandmates, you know, but like my relationship with music is like, my dad has always told me this. He's always been like, music is your oxygen. And that is like, it sounds kind of like silly to say, but like it really is. Like,
but that's cool.
I need to have music in my life. I need to have stuff. I need like art, and just think like that's just what I need to be surrounded by. It makes me feel like I have a reason to be alive.
Hell yeah.
And so like we would be doing this if there was nobody watching. We were doing this.
Yeah, exactly.
Till they began watching. Is Tears Over Beers still your favorite Mobo song?
Oh man.
Oof.
You know, my favorite Mobo song changes. I'll be honest, for a long time I was more of a sports like fan. I haven't listened to Holy Ghost. I haven't listened to it
ever.
I think I've heard songs from it in passing, and I think like because they've come on in house music at shows and stuff like that. And I think I've seen live sets where they play songs from the record, but I made a conscious decision actually not to listen to that record.
But you gotta elaborate why. I need to know.
Oh man, we're gonna go down a rabbit hole. I don't want to.
We need it.
I didn't want to risk being influenced by their music anymore, because after like we kind of started getting into like how all of our old music was like ripoffs of Mobo songs and stuff, and I think it's important to like, I've said it before, but like to reiterate that like none of that was like malicious intent or like trying to profit off of somebody else's art, or like I really didn't understand like that's what we were doing and how it was coming off. I was doing the same thing with like Sam Kless's music. That's why Birkenstock isn't on the internet anymore. So that's a ripoff of a Just Friends song. Like, you know what I mean? And
it's those, but it's those
didn't know what to do. Well, and through that, I realized a couple years ago, I found out that some of the members of Mobo had actually like known about that, which I didn't think that would ever get back to them. I don't think that it would ever be something that mattered, because like, I mean, just as context, like we never made any money off of those things ever. Like it was always free on Bandcamp, and like that was before Spotify was a thing. So I didn't really have, and also nobody listened to our fucking band. Like literally nobody. There's no way for us to possibly profit off of it. And also and we learned very quickly, like people were like, yo, like this kind of isn't cool, you know what I mean? Like you guys like sound cool, but also like this would be cooler if you just like wrote your own songs.
Was there a way of that? Did you guys deal with that kind of feedback?
Yeah, absolutely. We tried to shop like songs, and like tried to get like label support and stuff like that when we were early on, because like we didn't know like what do you do like when you're a band and you want to be in a band and you want to tour. Like we just like saw what our older friends were doing and we're trying to copy it, and people were just like, you know, this is very reminiscent of some other stuff that I've heard. And I think understanding that was my first lesson with understanding that like when you put something out into the world and when you share something publicly, like it becomes not yours anymore. It becomes bigger than you. It becomes its own thing. And regardless of what the intent was, and regardless of the fact that I thought that it was super clear that I was just trying to learn how to write songs, and that I wasn't making any money off of this, and that it's the equivalent of literally any other random 18-year-old's Bandcamp or SoundCloud link that you find.
And we're talking about 7 years ago, so it's not as if, you know what I mean? It's not as if you haven't grown and done so many new and different things. It was just, you know, young kids utilizing their influences and aspiring.
Exactly. part of that was I was under the impression that also like these people would never know, because also like in my mind, modern baseball and like all of the people involved with that project are fucking rock stars. Like
Right.
they are my heroes as artists, as songwriters, as musicians, as the way that they handled their entire situation. Like it's fucking admirable, and like I will always love that band, and I will always appreciate the impact that they had on me. And I never thought that they would ever knew who we were or even like hear our name and think about it for more than 2 seconds. And then when I found out that like I actually had a message conversation with Bren from Modern Baseball and actually found out that they did know about that it did bum them out, that it was disappointing, that like as a band it just they knew, and it was like a bummer. The same
Right.
way like it is for us when we hear other now there's other
Right, of
bands that rip
course.
off our music,
That
what I mean?
sound
It's
like
a full
Mom Jeans, just the same.
it's a full cycle, but I mean, I don't take it personally now because like I've been in that situation before and I know
Right.
exactly how it is. But to find out that like somebody that I looked up to that much had been negatively impacted by something that I did was a big just learning experience for me. It was a big growing up moment, and through that, like that was a big point in decision making where I was just like, I don't want to risk this feeling ever happening again. I don't, if there's even a 5% chance that somebody is going to think that I am taking like influence and not giving credit, like I don't even want because that's not who I am. And that's not why I'm in a band. Like I really am in a band because I want to write my own music and because I want to express myself. And so, yeah, going through that, it just, I don't want to say that it soured my like liking for the band or my relationship, because it totally didn't, and like I'm not entitled to like have good interactions with those people. But it made me really think hard about like the relationship that I have with the music that I listen to, and how I wanted to let that affect the music that I was going to write and the music that I was going to try and put out and perform. Because like now as a band, we're writing music that we know that people are going to listen to, whereas when we wrote Best Buds and anything prior, it was a record that was written for nobody. It was written for us because there was no intended audience. There was no promise that ever going to care.
Right.
So,
And while
yeah,
we
that was
discuss Best Buds, we know we all know about Best Buds, as we may not have previously mentioned. This is a case of all three of us being huge super fans of yours. So
for sure.
this might come as a surprise, but we are super fans. So before we get into the Best Buds aspect of it all, let's get another wheel spin.
Bubbles.
What's that?
I hope I don't burst any bubbles or like
No,
ruin anybody's...
you couldn't. You couldn't.
You haven't
I'll
yet.
hit it with a Vashoti. We'll hit it with a quick Vashoti.
And that's what absolutely.
All right, Lee Wargo, hit me with that wheel spin, baby.
I got you.
Let's see what we got. We get a lot of options. We only hit lyrics so far. We have several more to go through.
I already got to piss again, dude.
Yeah, because you broke the seal, buddy.
Two bands, one choice.
Two bands, one choice. This is where I am going to give you two horribly, terribly unfair choices to pick between, but you have to pick one. That's the game. They're gonna be unfair. They're gonna be unfair.
You pick one or you smoke.
Yeah, if you don't want it, if you just refuse to answer, you can just take a huge rip.
As he's pulling it down.
Yeah.
Shit. Don't make me. Fuck.
Just Friends or Prince Daddy?
That is unfair. What the fuck?
Corey,
it's so unfair.
I love you. Corey, I love you. You are my favorite guy in the whole world, but I have to say Just Friends because...
And we do love Corey.
Actually,
shout out, friend of the podcast.
Dude,
yeah, we love Corey.
That is honestly, that may be too unfair. because the same reasons why I can't not pick Just Friends are like the same reasons why I can't not pick P Daddy. The first
Right.
tour that I ever went on was with P Daddy and Just Friends.
He
So
told us about
the reason
that.
why
Hell of a tour.
Yeah.
the reason why Mom Jeans exists and the reason why we ever thought that being in a band and going on tour would be a cool idea is because of both of those bands. So,
Two
but if I had to pick
big
one,
influences.
AF Hometown Heroes. So
Corey Gregory quote: Eric came to me and said, "Hey man, I'm working on these songs. Band's called Mom Jeans. What do you think?"
Yeah.
And this happened on tour, yes?
yeah, and it was.
What songs did you
Not-
show him at that time?
I think I showed him like some of the like modern baseball ripoff songs, and he was probably just like, "All right, yeah, sure, dude." Like I don't think anybody took it seriously when I showed them Mom Jeans, like when we first all became friends. And that's fine. Honestly, there was no reason for them to take it seriously. Like we had one song out, we had Movember out, and it was a version of that
Amazing
song.
Yeah.
Incredible song.
We literally brought Austin's drum kit into my room in the fraternity house and set it up and recorded drums in a bedroom. It was
That's fucking awesome.
neighbors were not too happy with us at all. It was pretty rough. That was the only music that we had, so I probably showed them that, and they were probably like, "Yeah, this is cool." It's probably like, "Oh, it sounds like Mobo and Free Throw." So,
All right.
That's nice,
Well,
honey.
that's going to lead you into another unfair one. Mobo or Free Throw?
well, Mobo already doesn't exist anymore.
That's fair. We are huge fans of Mobo as well, though. But if you had to pick one,
If I had to pick one, I'd say Mobo again. I don't know if I would listen to half the bands that I listen to now if it wasn't for modern baseball. Also, again, shout out Jake, Corey, everybody in that band. Like, I love everybody in Free Throw. That was the first real tour that I ever went on in venues. Like, Free Throw
Hell
took us
yeah.
on tour.
Free throw is sick.
I love those. I love everybody in that band so much. Larry, freaking yeah, Kevin.
the first
everybody
day
in
I
that
ever
band.
heard Two Beers In, I think I put it on repeat 60 times in a row on my car stereo, just driving to work. Just played it on repeat the whole time.
My first year after college, like when we were writing, like starting to write Best Buds and like starting to be a real band, I did summer school and I had to take the train like from my hometown about an hour into school to take my class, and I listened to Lavender Town probably twice every single day. Like
Amazing.
that summer on
Incredible.
the train. I love that band so much. Free Throw's so epic.
Yeah.
Shout out to
they're
Free
dope.
Throw. We love you. So we're actually 2 for 2. So hopefully we can end this one off. I'm gonna give you maybe a little bit of an obscure one. However, I do know that you know these bands.
Show.
Mover Shaker or Kississippi.
Ooh, I'm gonna say Mover Shaker with that one.
R.I.P. to Mover Shaker. R.I.P. to Mover Shaker.
R.I.P. I may have to fly out for that show when it happens.
Oh man, we
to.
saw them live with you
may
guys.
just have to be there.
Yeah, that was
I
first
love
Mom
that
Jeans
band.
show.
They are awesome. Just a total just a barrel of monkeys as far as like people. Just like so much fun.
Hell
so
yeah.
much love in that group.
That was the show. It was in Pawtucket at the Met. You, Prince Daddy, Mover Shaker, and Hit Like a Girl, I believe.
That show was a blessing.
That show
The show was amazing.
so much fun. Literally,
That's-
we asked Nicole if they wanted to play that show, I think
Dude.
2 days before that. And they were like,
Mm.
let me see if my band's around. And they were
Hell
like,
yeah.
let's do it. It ended up being
That
probably
show
my
was
favorite show.
wild.
That's
man.
awesome.
It was so awesome. It
Best
was
venue.
nuts. Everybody,
Every band fucking
aw.
slapped.
That was sold out too. We were packed shoulder to shoulder in that crowd.
Place is so
It was
fucking loud.
Yeah,
Oh my
we had
God.
we were on a radius clause on that tour, so we couldn't actually play any major cities.
Really?
So that's why we
Well,
didn't
that
play
sounds like
Boston.
Pawtucket.
We were on radius clause for Sad Summer at the time, so like, yeah, you can't do Boston. You can't do
Oh, interesting.
So we got lucky.
We got lucky to
Yeah.
see both of those. Just saying.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You didn't have to
and
go
so-
all the way to middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, to see us.
That's Lee. You just took direct shots at Lee. He's middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania.
Pretty much.
Actually,
Well, I'm close to
No, I'm
Pittsburgh.
just saying,
so-
that's like That's I mean, I love Pittsburgh. I love Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is actually awesome. I think it's a super underrated city. But like, yeah, no, we played a couple of shows like in like I think we played like Erie, Pennsylvania, or
Yeah,
something like
Erie's
that. We played like Bethlehem or something
At least
like
Bethlehem.
that.
he doesn't want Erie.
And I think even like the people who were at the show were just like, we're glad that you're here, but why is it here?
Yeah, because I would be one of those people that drives 2 hours to Erie to go see it. So
Yeah,
So
so I
moving
was
into
just
Best
like,
Buds, though, I want to know one thing. July 3rd.
show.
What is it about July 3rd?
Oh, um, dang, I don't mean to get all heavy all of a sudden, but I had a close friend of mine who I knew in college. His name was Jeffrey Thomas Engler, and he was like kind of like my mentor in marching band. When you have like when the marching band at UC Berkeley is kind of set up similarly to the way that like a lot of Greek life is set up. Like you get like basically like a big bro or like a big sister when you
Right.
join somebody to kind of like show you the ropes and help you get settled in the school and stuff. And the person who kind of took me under their wing was this guy named Jeff, and he ended up being a really really close friend, and a really important figure to me, just in formative years and
Oh, yeah.
early adulthood. And he unfortunately passed away in December of 2015. Um, and it was very sudden, and it was very tragic and very traumatic for his family and for everybody that was involved. Like he died at the house that we were living at in college, and it was just like a very big like moment for me. Um, and specifically as it pertains to Mom Jeans, like he was probably like the only person that really like told me that our band was good like before anybody else did. And what he wasn't just trying to gas me up, or just like he really thought
He
that
believed.
like our band was good, and he really believed in us. And like I don't have to tell y'all how important it is to have
Yeah.
like one person in the world that really makes you feel seen and makes you feel like understood at times. And he was that person for me. And yeah, unfortunately when he passed away, it was really really sad and really really frustrating. And that experience has shaped a lot of the reasons why I behave the way that I do in my relationships. Like I'm a very anxious, like nervous, like type A person when it comes to relationships. And part of that is because like I'm scared that if I'm not taking care of the people that I love, that like something bad is going to happen to them, you know?
Right.
And that's something that I think a lot of people can relate to.
Yep.
That doesn't make me unique by any means, but going through that, and like this band was a really big coping mechanism for me to get through that. And writing like a lot of the lyrics on Best Buds that people I think like presume are about like breakups or about like relationship like issues, or
Hmm.
like actually about like losing my friend and
Right.
like the trauma that his family went through, and kind of using the band as a like as a coping mechanism and as a tool to grieve, was just it became very inexplicably like tied together forever for me. And July 3rd is his birthday.
Well, that's awesome.
And we were
That's great to
thinking
know.
about times when we were thinking about dates of when to release the record. Like I said, nobody listened to our band. Like we had no label support. Like Fourth Row Records is literally like my friend Irfan, who had a tape like writer in their bedroom, and made some tapes for us. And we could do whatever we wanted and could release it whenever we wanted. So we did, and we released it on his birthday because that was for me in a time when I like couldn't do anything and I felt like I didn't have any control. I could have control over that, and I could do something to honor my friend. And
Well,
so
that's
yeah, Best
awesome.
Buds and Puppy Love were both
That's
released on his birthday.
Both
So
of those. And that was something that I realized I did. I remember actually the night Puppy Love was released because I was blackout drunk and I threw it on at a huge party for the 4th. And every single person there was like, "What did you just put on?" I was like, I don't know if it's gonna. I don't know how good it's gonna be, but I love this band, so suck one.
I haven't even listened to it yet.
And
Good.
I remember just hearing.
I was in a van driving from Kansas to Denver when we released that album because Grad Life and Just Friends were on tour. And we were
Hell yeah.
driving.
So trying to remain chronological, at least, the Death Cup fame, as it has come to be known, it came about, at least to me, anyways. Spotify algorithm playlists. It was as if I heard Edward 40 Hands, and then maybe a day or two later, I heard Death Cup, and I was like, oh, so this is for real. And then I went to the Spotify and I saw Death Cup had already over 1 million plays. And I was just like, Jesus, man, I feel like I'm the only person alive that I know who has heard this yet. And I just instantly was like, dude, you got to listen to this. Dude, you got to listen to this. And I was late on that bandwagon because it wasn't 2016 when that happened. But how did that all go? Because it seems like Death Cup was like the one that was just like, oh, shit, it's blowing up like all over the world right now.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to take a dab so we can talk about this. This is
All right.
I'm gonna get a cold one and take a whiz. I was waiting for this one because that memory has stuck in my head for quite some time. I used to play girls that I was trying to impress Edward 40 Hands at full volume and just be like, oh yeah, you haven't heard of Mom Jeans? I'm really quirky. And then all of a sudden it was just this massive song.
You are not alone in that, pal, unfortunately.
All right, let me grab one.
It's a story I am all too familiar with.
Cute torch.
Trying to impress girls with
Cute
mom
torch
jeans.
noise. Dude, I'm still trying to do that. Jeez. I'm just kidding. Shoot, that's a really good question. Actually, I'm gonna set my timer. Want to do a quick shouts out to Toro Courts, JP Toro. I don't know that there's a chance that he would ever see this or why he would ever. He's the guy who makes these bangers, but
Toro Glass.
Yep. Toro Glass. If you ever, man, hit me up. I want one of these new Terp Slurpers as bad as anybody else does.
That's like the only.
Hey,
That's
we're
like the
gonna
only
tag
glass
him in
page I
this.
follow.
Yeah, these
Toro's
things.
nuts.
There's people literally camping outside of smoke shops.
Bro.
To like buy these, and this one is broken, and I actually fixed it myself
Really?
because I knew I wasn't going to be able to get a new one if
Like years ago, I was like, I'm gonna buy a Toro. I'm gonna get like a nice bong. I'm gonna take care of it. And it's like $2,000. I was like, never
How
mind.
does that
I'm
happen?
gonna go to the gas station and buy some fucking rubber.
yeah, I thought it was cool to have like gas that was or like glass that was like 10 bills or more, and I no longer feel that way. It just doesn't make sense anymore.
Competition pieces that are like $50,000.
That's crazy.
That's in
Like $50,000, $1,000.
Yeah, no, I
glass like that.
I get
Blown by the
nervous
pros,
like
crazy.
looking at my homie's piece that's like 1.4K. I get like nervous like even being around it. I don't
He's like, come on, hit it.
Sneeze and not
They're like flipping it and shit. Like, check me out.
Come on, let's take a rip, dude.
stacking it. I do that with glass that I make though. I flip them whenever I make them, and
right now.
freaks everybody out.
Flip a Toro
dab
on
on cam though. Cheers.
Cheers.
Dude, I'll flip a rig on cam.
Clear my bowl.
Oh, fun fact: recreational dispensaries just came to Arizona today.
Oh, congrats, everybody.
That's awesome.
Yep. So now
For
I
you.
can drive 10 minutes down the road and buy legal weed for $75 an eighth.
Yeah, how's your wallet feeling?
Outrageously slammed.
Legal weed. I'm gonna do a shameless plug.
Yep.
Mom Jeans, P Daddy, and Pictures of Vernon have a shared T-shirt online at Honey TV right now.
Honey TV.
And all the proceeds from that shirt are being donated to the Last Prisoner Project, which is specifically a cannabis and drug policy related like legal team that helps get people out of legal situations.
Hell yeah.
When they've been kind of unfairly persecuted by the drug war and stuff like that.
And shout that out one more time. What was the name?
Last Prisoner Project.
Last Prisoner Project.
Yeah. They have an
Yeah, I saw
Instagram and
their
a
shirts
website.
yesterday.
I'll pick them up.
Very cool.
I'm sold.
Weed should not be illegal.
No,
No way.
no, it's
The
crazy.
last fucking thing. Oh, I go on rants about caffeine. I go on caffeine rants about everybody fucking shaming drug addicts when they fucking wake up and can't roll over by their coffee. I'm like, fuck you, motherfucker. Keep your mouth closed.
I mean, I think
One drug's it's just
you go back in history, man, and humankind has always relied on stimulants, and I think you will find that like
yeah,
individuals who have things that don't agree with their system and choose not to partake are generally actually the anomaly. Not saying there's anything wrong with that. Like I think
absolutely
it's totally
not, but
cool if you're like sober and whatnot, but I think that like the actual like it just being normal to like not intake stimulants of like any kind, whether it be caffeine or
right.
tobacco or whatnot, it's like rare. So
Blows
Yeah,
my mind.
that's
Another
like,
one's shaping
people
the
live
rules.
their life.
It's not fair.
Cool. All right, best buds. That's what we were gonna talk about, right?
Buckle up. I think it was Death Cup.
Death Cup specifically.
Yep,
Okay.
that's
So
Death Cup fame.
prior to Best Buds being released, we were just a local Bay Area band. We had never played a show outside of probably Berkeley or Oakland or San Francisco. We did a lot of local stuff, and it wasn't even like we were opening for like touring bands and stuff. Like it was literally like the local band night. We played a lot of ska
Yeah.
nights and stuff like that. And early on, like we were playing the Mobo ripoff songs, and we would cover Mobo and Joyce Manor in the set. It was so punishing. Like there should be a shirt that's like if you saw one of Mom Jeans' first 5 gigs, you may be entitled to financial compensation because it was bad. It was punishing. And like I won't deny that. I'm embarrassed a little bit, you know. But that was, and to be honest, like that was kind of the reputation that we had locally. I was not as self-aware as I am now when I was 18. And honestly, like when you are young and starting a band, people are hella judgmental. I am judgmental of 18-year-old kids now because I look at them and I'm like, bro, you're gonna look back at this in 2 years and you're gonna be a completely different person. Not even what you're doing is bad, but just like you don't even know who you are yet. And like you are probably tired of everybody that you know telling you that. So you're gonna just do whatever the fuck you want in this band anyway. But you know, and that was us too. We were just doing our thing, and I think we were seen probably by other people in the community that were interacting with us as like nerdy, geeky, like college kids who just like had no business being there and really weren't you know, musically good enough to, you know, be like a real band. Like we weren't particularly like cool. Like we were nice,
Right.
but we weren't like cool, you know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? The difference between cool and nice, like everybody
Yep.
like kind of gets that, you know, that
Yeah.
guy's fucking cool.
Well, you can be
versus like, oh,
judgmental or you can be curious. You can ask questions or you can just presume.
exactly. And I think that people like, I don't know, at least in our local community, like shows in the Bay Area, like Oakland, San Francisco, like there's a real big cool guy community. And if you don't like know the right people and if you aren't one of the cool folks, like it's really hard to play shows and it's really hard to just like feel involved because there's just like a big lack of communication between a lot of the bands that exist.
Yep.
Right.
So we kind of like we weren't really embraced by anybody that we weren't like already friends with for the most part. And honestly, like even just friends and like most of the people that I knew through that like just kind of humored us. And we're like, yeah, like if there's a slot on a show, like we'll throw you on, but also like you guys, there was almost like this attitude of like you guys are what you are. You know what I mean? And right now you're just like wanna be modern baseball ripoff band. And that was cool for a while. Honestly, I was fine with that. I just wanted to be in a band and like play shows and like you know what I mean? And
Right. Oh, of course.
but
You're having fun. You're having fun.
I also, yeah, no, and as we started to play more shows and as we started to realize as we started to see like what some of our friends were doing, like namely Just Friends, again, like Just Friends was starting to go on tour and they had released a you know, full length record on Open Door. That was Rock to the Rhythm. Like that album came out. I remember listening to that album the night it came out with Austin, like in our room in the summer of 2015, and just being like, I can't believe that people that I know did this.
Right.
And
But I'm sure a lot of people have the same feelings about Mom Jeans now.
yeah, and it wasn't even disbelief. It was just like honestly like respect. I was just like I was
Right.
blown out of the water, and like honestly I was moved to tears by the last song on that record. There's a part at the end of Dublin, California, where
Great
Sam
song.
screams at the
Mm.
crowd, and he's like, "This one's for our families, our friends, everybody who ever supported us. This one's for you. Fuck yeah!" Like that, and I was moved to tears because I was
Yep.
like, no joke. I was like, this is like I know how real that is because I was there for all of that. Like I saw all of it happen.
Fuck yeah.
I was there at the skate park for the shows at the skate park.
Hell
You know what
yeah.
I mean? And it's real. It was just so amazing, and I think that's when I realized, at least for myself, that I was like, I really want to, not even like because I see this as like a potential career, but just like I really like I think me and Austin might be capable of doing something like this if we
Right.
like really set our minds to it, and if we really I don't know, trust our gut and just like do what we think is cool, like not try to sound like anybody else and not try to fit into any box or like cater ourselves so that we could you know like play with certain people, because like literally like Best Buds was like a mixtape that we made of like songs, of specific songs that we would send to specific people because we thought that they would like that version
Hell
of
yeah.
Mom Jeans the most, to be the most likely to let us play whatever show.
Well, that's interesting
And
though,
Those were
because it's
just-
a very cohesive piece.
Yeah.
It doesn't sound like you guys were just picking bits and pieces here. It sounds like a very flowing album, especially when you get to something like
probably
like a
because all the
Movember.
drums were recorded in like 3 hours.
Oh wait, I'm sorry. Run that back. Run that back one time. What was
No.
that?
Austin recorded all the drums for Best Buds in like 2 hours. He did like
That's
retakes of
fucking
everything.
insane. Shout out to Austin, by the way.
What the fuck?
We-
How much
we-
is
Shout
that?
out
How much is that an hour? How much do you get paid an hour
I
for
like
that?
I don't want to honestly, like Austin's my friend, and like I don't want to talk about him when he's like not here, because like at the risk of like sounding patronizing, but like honestly,
Oh,
like
I
he
see.
is the best drummer that I have ever met.
The
He's
best.
my favorite.
That
The
stuck out.
best.
And
That was one of the first things that stuck out to me.
How
was the
dare
fucking
you talk good about your
bang
friends
in the
behind
kid,
your
dude.
back?
I was like, what the fuck?
Well,
Bang
we
in the
don't
kid,
watch
dude.
just experiences that
Holy
I've
shit.
had where where Austin's just shut down the room with
Yeah.
just like something that he just like whips out of his pocket, whether it be for this project or one of the many
Right.
other things that he plays drums on. Like he played drums on like the Safe Face record that's going to be coming out like sometime. He played drums on the Grad Life record.
Shout out New
He's
Jersey.
been doing
Safe face.
really flexing his drum muscles and just like trying to be the most well-rounded drummer he can be. And
Basically just a studio drummer.
insane.
The
No, and
kid-
it's just like he can
kid
play
do
anything he wants to play. If
There it is.
he can think it, if he can hear it, he can play it.
I bet that makes
that
you
was
guys
you and
all
Austin.
better as well. I mean,
Yeah, Best Buds was myself and Austin and our old bass player Gabe. Yeah,
Right.
but
you
it was
guys-
mostly me, and like Gabe didn't write anything, so he was just like the bass player. Everything that was like material wise came from myself and Austin on Best Buds.
And you said that you didn't even have a label, but it was pressed by Counterintuitive maybe later, or
So that's kind of how it gets. That's where honestly, like the journey starts after Best Buds came out. To be honest with you, as far as
a lot of
like, us
tours,
being
a lot of tours right after that.
yeah, as far as us being a band that anybody outside of our immediate friends group knew or cared about, like that all started probably 3-4 months after Best Buds was released. We booked a tour and went on a tour in July, like literally a week after the record came out, which I learned terrible idea because nobody's heard the record yet. Why would they? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is so silly stuff. And we did a 2-week tour. And we were on tour for 2 weeks, and 3 of the shows were not in California. Like it was insane. Like
It was just different
we didn't-
areas altogether.
we literally couldn't get a show booked in LA. Like we were in
Oh.
LA for 3 days and like just didn't play a show. We just hung out at
Yeah.
Austin's parents' house because like
Wow.
we couldn't get it. It's a show. We played and I had the most fun I've ever had in my life. And we came home and we lost we spent $200, which we essentially made back on like Bandcamp sales from like our parents and our parents' friends like buying it on Bandcamp.
And I quote, if you're willing to put yourselves in debt for your record, then chances are you'll be more successful than the people who don't take those chances.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's unfortunate that like that's where we're at and that's where we're at the state of things. But I mean, you can compare that to any other, I think, type of career that's not like being part of the rat race and just taking a 9 to 5. Like there's some amount of risk
Yeah.
assumed. And
Mm.
also the thing for me that I love about this band is that like when we're doing things right, like I don't ever feel like I'm taking risks because like the
Right.
worst case scenario for me is like something that I know I can still be proud of and is something that I still know that I'm gonna have fun doing.
Right.
And that's like how we try to set things up. And that's how we try to set up our tours. And we just
Hell
try to
yeah.
make sure that everyone is better than the last. And it's like as long as X, Y, and Z happens, and like worst case scenario this happens, am I okay with that? Yeah, sure. Let's do it. I
Hell
think
yeah.
we spent like $900 or like maybe a little bit more recording Best Buds. We paid for 1 day at a studio and we did all of the drums and all of the bass in that 1 day.
Hell yeah.
And then did the 2 more days at our engineer's house,
Mm.
at our engineer's dad's house, and that was for guitar, and then another day for vocals. And so we made the record in probably not all at once either. We like each time we did that, there was like a month in between because I didn't know how to schedule stuff, and it was literally
Mm.
each time I saw engineer would be like, "All right, so when's the next time you can come in?" Be like, "Well, I'm booked for out a month. I'm always booked out a month." So like, and it was super funny. So it was like a long process of actually getting the everything recorded. We started recording it in February and like finished in May. Because it was just broken up so many times and like a couple weeks in between. But yeah, we finally got it out and went on a short tour. Nobody cared. There's a handful of people that we knew because we had played shows with bands from LA or from out of state or whatever, and they,
Mm.
did the thing that you do when DIY bands throw shows for each other. Um, but for the most part, like it was very underwhelming. Um, and then to be honest, like the first time that I felt that there was any even like inkling or like spark of a chance that anybody was gonna care about anything that we did ever was the second tour that Mom Jeans ever did, and it was in November of 2016. It was
Mhm.
about like yeah, probably 4 or 5 months after the
It
record came
began
out.
November 4th.
Yeah, oh dang, you got the receipts for show.
Dang.
Um, but yeah, no, and at the time, Bart was playing in a band called Meet Me in Montauk.
Mm.
Great band. Shouts out to Meet Me in Montauk. Another
Shout out to
band that
Media
like this
Montauk.
band, Mom Jeans wouldn't exist without that band. Another one. But we were supposed to go on tour with them, and then there was some scheduling conflicts and some stuff that didn't work out. So it ended up being Mom Jeans and Grad Life.
Now, so to rewind just a tad bit, April 2015, April 8th, 2015, every piece of sound equipment was stolen from your house.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Did you ever find out who stole that?
No idea.
Not a
Like
clue.
it could have been anybody. I was living in a shared like housing. I was living in a fraternity house at the
Mm.
time, and now
Mm.
like it was all like to me at the time it was everything I had. It was probably $500 worth of gear, to be honest with you.
But
But it
thinking
was
about that,
everything.
within that
Um,
time period, and you actually releasing Best
It was a
Buds,
frat
I mean,
house.
it must have
Anything can
it
happen.
must have put a jank in things just because that was so close to the release, or was it all recorded before that point?
oh no, that was that was about a year before any
Right.
of that stuff happened. And I actually my gear was trash. Austin had a great little drum kit that was basically his like mini drum kit that he brought because they had an 18-inch kick drum and it fit in the back of a sedan. And we were a three-piece band at the time, and I knew nothing about guitar, so I played like a Mexican Strat that I traded on some guy on Craigslist. I mean,
Yeah.
that I don't have anymore. I sold it for weed money like a
Wait a
month
second, you're
after the
telling
record
me
came
you wrote and recorded all of the songs for Best Buds within 1 year's time?
out. Probably 2 years.
Oh, okay. So you did. So it was in the middle of at least recording and or writing that record.
It was in the middle of writing the record, and I mean, like, we were a band for a long time. Like, in our minds, having a record like was the end all be all.
Mhm.
At least, I guess I could provide some context. Like in California, I mean, I think a lot of people feel this way about their hometown, but like where I'm from, like specifically Oakland, San Jose, like the East Bay, there are so many amazing bands and amazing artists that go nowhere for absolutely no reason. It seems there's no logical sense to why like people just don't. And I mean, all four of us could spend the next 2 hours listing off bands that should be more popular
Amen to
and should have
Yeah.
gotten more recognition and would still be around if people had just like paid attention when they needed to.
Right.
And aren't anymore because like they didn't get the response that they needed to feel validated at the time, and it's like a freaking shame, you know. And I grew up like in a music community where like that was every band that I was surrounded by.
Right.
Yeah.
And like a few that come to mind, like there's like this great band called Summer Vacation from the LA area that was Winter Break after that. They're not around anymore, and it's just like I don't understand why that band wasn't huge. I don't understand why that band wasn't as big as Blink 182 because the songwriting was there, the
High
performance
praise.
was there. I don't understand why Lear wasn't a huge band. I don't understand why Blowout wasn't a huge band. I don't understand why Special Explosion wasn't a huge band. Like I really don't understand. And not that some of those people didn't get any recognition, because some of them did do
Right.
well too, and did get to tour. Like Walter, etc. is another band that I can name that's like that should be the biggest band on the planet. Like Dustin is one of the best songwriters I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And I don't feel that like the amount of people that he draws to a show is reflective of how many people A actually care about that band and B
Right.
should care about that. And
When I
so,
hear conversations like that, I constantly think about the Weaker Thans, if you're familiar with
yeah,
them.
that's a
I
great
mean,
example of that. Like,
I know they
why
got
isn't that band playing
signed.
stadiums?
Right.
Yeah.
And I know they got signed and they did all this great work, but what the fuck happened there? They were just this unbelievable tornado of songwriting ability that, for whatever
And
reason, did not get
none of
picked
these
up at
bands
the
are
time.
going to complain, right? Because they're making a living playing music, and
Right.
same.
Of
I'm never
course.
going to complain 'cause I'm making a living like playing guitar, which is not something that should
Right.
ever happen in a million years.
And not a lot of people ever get to do.
And not a lot of people ever get to do, so I'm going to be grateful for it. However, like I was very conscious of the fact that, like, at least for us, I think that a lot of bands see putting out music as like a means to an end, and like see
Right.
putting out a self-title as like a means to an end. Like, I'm gonna put out this music so that I can go on tour, or so that I can make money, or so that I can get recognition, or whatever your goal is. Like, it doesn't matter what your end goal is.
Mhm.
It's a means to an end. And for us at the time, really best buds, like just putting a record out and having a full-length album that we made, that we wrote, was end all be all goal. That was the
Right.
only thing that we cared about. Like at least me and Austin, like that was the only thing on my mind. Like I just wanted to have it. And because I knew I think subconsciously I knew what was possible, because Just Friends had released this record and we're going out and we're doing tours, and like Prince
Right.
Daddy was working on releasing their album. Oso had just put out Real Stories, and I was seeing what was possible if people did like your record.
Right.
But like I was getting at before, I knew that there's no guarantee that anybody's going to give a shit about your band, or that even your friends are going to like it. And
Of
honestly,
course.
at the time, I didn't feel like my friends liked our music,
Mm.
and I didn't feel like I didn't feel comfortable showing. I didn't show people demos. Like I didn't show people. I was like I showed them the record
Yeah.
when it was done and it was out, and
Right.
like then they could listen to it, because it was like it's public. What am I going to do? Like not talk about it with
Right. You
people? But
can't hide it
also
at that point.
I was under the impression that like Sam and Bart hated my songs, even though, because neither of them were in Mom Jeans at the time. We were just friends, but then
Oh,
that
okay.
wasn't the case. It's just like my own insecurity,
Right.
and it's just so funny. And I just knew that the only person that I cared about pleasing was like me,
Good.
and that like that I was like 99% chance everybody I show this record to is gonna hate it. So if I like it, anything can roll off my back. I can be like, oh, it's just not for you then, because like I like this
Right. As long
record.
as you
Versus
like it.
if I go into thing where like I made decisions because I thought that it would pander to a certain sound, or that it would
Mhm.
achieve a certain desired effect, and then that's just insecurities, and that's just anxiety for me, because I'm like, then I'm wondering, did I actually pull it off? Like, do
Right.
other people hear it the way that it was intended?
Yep.
And I don't want there to be any doubts. Like I want to listen to the song, and I want to be jamming in the car, like driving
There
on the
you go.
highway, listening to my
Make it how you
songs,
would
and
like
like
it. Yeah.
and love every single one of them because.
What's your favorite song off Best Buds?
Oh,
everybody, quick, Veery, go.
Get the torch again. Fucking.
Everybody needs a second to think.
Veery, go. Don't think.
Favorite, like my favorite or my
Sobs.
favorite to play.
Your favorite.
Interesting. Ooh, you're gonna like sweet.
I'm a Sobs.
Sobs.
I fucking.
It's either Sobs or Girl Scout.
Mine is personally Poor Boxer Shorts. Just gonna throw that one out there. Eric, let's hear it.
I think my favorite to play is probably Girl Scout cookies.
Yeah.
And at the time, that was the song that we were like, "This is the song."
Hell yeah.
It is.
Death Cup wasn't the song.
That's
40 Hands
fun.
wasn't the song when we made the record. Like Girl Scout cookies was the song
fucking
that we
love
were
Girl
all.
Scouts.
Really interesting.
Funny, right? Funny how it works out.
You didn't
And,
see the Edward 40 Hands like more mainstream appeal though.
I knew it was a good track. Like we all knew it was like the song. Like I love that riff. That riff in the second I heard Austin play that riff the first time, I was like, "That's a fucking winner, my dude."
Yeah, well, it's interesting too because like somebody like me, and of course it's all personal, but I hear the intro to Edward 40 Hands now, and aside from consistently quoting Bob's Burgers more than my brain can fucking handle, I just remember how I felt that first time. It was like nighttime. I'm driving under the streetlights, and the riff is just taking me out. And I'm like hesitating to drive 150 miles an hour through a brick wall. But that was the moment where I was like, I'm gonna go listen to this album front to back 6 times and see how I feel.
That's cool. For sure.
All right, before we get into the next part, though, we need a wheel spin, and I need a cold one.
Shouts out to Save Face.
Save Face, New Jersey.
We're gonna see Tyler not too long from now because we're actually making our album in Jersey, and he's gonna come hang out. So.
Oh, we're gonna get into Sweet Tooth. Don't you worry, buddy boy.
Jersey.
Oh, we have to. But chronologically speaking, right now is the moment where we're gonna get into.
I was gonna say one thing about the Edward 40 Hands riff, which is that is the like antithesis of like Mom from a guitar perspective because it sounds kind of complicated, but it's actually the easiest riff in the world to play.
That's hilarious.
It's not ergonomic. You use 2 fingers. The whole time you use 2 fingers the whole time, and that's it. And you should be able to play it while singing because I had to be able to play it, and I had to be able to play it while singing. And I was 19, and I had a year of guitar experience. So
well, now we know.
Wow.
I can do it. You can do it.
So 2017, we had Now That's What I Call Music, Volume 420.
Where'd that wheel spin land on?
Yeah.
What did we get from the wheel spin, Lee Wargo?
Oh, that's a Booze and Tunes shotgun.
Jeez.
Oh boy, you're lucky. I happen to have a can right here. I just happen to have a cold can right here.
I don't have a hot nail, but that can be remedied very quickly.
Oh, we can take our time. Don't you worry. I don't know where my keys are, unfortunately.
Honestly, that's probably much stronger than a shotgun.
Yeah, I mean, if I took a dab, I'd die. Oh!
Speaking of Girl Scout cookies, do you
get that on cam?
Do you not care who shotguns faster? Because it's gonna be me.
B.O.B. Shotgunning a Shasta.
I just smashed this can like to the depths of hell. So I'm gonna have to grab another one.
Oh, that's
because that was.
I could crush a shotgun pretty fast in my glory days. I won't lie.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to drink this next one. I'm gonna have to drink this crushed can like Zach Alwarden from Charmer. Shout him out. I'm gonna have to drink this one sideways. So I'm gonna have to get another one to shotgun. Just give me one moment.
Okay. Oh, he was a beast.
I'm gonna go in on some of this mint chocolate chip.
Oh no!
Does it really taste like mint chocolate chip? Is it all the name?
Have you ever smoked Kush Mints before?
No.
Like the strain Kush Mints. Like it'll be called Kush Mint sometimes, or like Triangle Kush Mints, or like Triangle Kush sometimes. But it's kind of like a minty. It's similar to like the Thin Mints like strain like that was like around when like World Cup cookies was just getting big. But yeah, it's kind of like that. It's like it's a strain that's around here a lot. They call it like triangle kush mints or whatever. I like it a lot. It's like a minty. I just love weed, man.
I fuck with weed and mints
Weed's
big.
I'm smoking Purple Power.
Ooh.
Powerpuff Girls.
And then Gelato, which is like they called it Larry Bird as the second name for it. Larry Bird.
Shout out to Larry Bird.
Yeah, shout out to C's.
We have to.
The big one out here, the big basketball player strain out here is Gary Payton right now.
Oh,
Oh my God.
the glove, dude.
Smoking on that
the best defender of all time, possibly.
Gary Payton, baby.
Oh man.
You know I got that.
All right. Well,
I actually picked up some Gary Payton seeds. So
Did you?
I literally, honestly, for the meme, once people started rapping about it, once people start rapping about stuff, that's when I'm like, okay.
I remember when
Sure.
Migos started rapping about gelato, and I was smoking that out of like one of the e-pens or whatever, and I was like, I feel like this is what I have to get now.
I didn't even know that.
All right,
Just
cheers.
picked it up. All right.
Do we have a hot nail, Eric?
Oh, we don't. I'm sorry.
no,
Oh, you're fine. That was funny as hell, though.
He's got a hot nail, like in a cold hand.
Cue the torch.
Also, it would appear I burned the shit out of myself. I'm not entirely certain
Was
how
that last
happened.
night when you went to bed after? We fucking left you. We missed you.
Very possible.
Well, how'd you do that?
Yeah, he's just like, I burned myself, and he never comes
Burn
back.
yourself and you never came back.
I actually have no idea. So yeah,
Like,
I mean, I was blackout drunk last night. So it is what it is, man.
Dude, those White Claws, man. I just drank the 12-pack and like didn't realize it was gone.
White Claws is literally the worst hangover I've ever had in my entire life. I'll tell you why. It's like the most violent, like sick drunk that I get is from White Claws.
Wow.
Wine and Fireball was the worst hangover I ever had. I legitimately woke up the next day questioning if I would make it. What'd you say?
The combination of the two?
Yeah, it was. I was just drinking wine, and then my neighbors came over.
Of course.
Yeah, my neighbors came over, and they were like, "Hey, you want a shot of Fireball?" I was like, "Yeah, why not?" Like you came over, you brought them through in these little mini Tupperwares. So kind of you. So I took one shot of Fireball, and then we ended up taking like 4 more, and I drank like a bottle and a half of wine. And I woke up the next day questioning if I was going to breathe for the next 24 hours.
It'd be like that.
Should be a prohibition on just Fireball.
Let's get a quick cheers and a heavy for shouty.
I got this will cool down for a second, but by the time you guys will be done, I'll be tapping in. So go for it.
Yeah,
Cheers, everybody.
To the ceiling, boys.
Woo! Don't want to roast it. This stuff is too good to waste.
I don't blame
Woo! Oh, wait, I'll put it up. Hear the cool noise of the terp pearl rattling around while I do this. It'll be fun.
the Terp Pearl. Ooh.
Terp Pearl.
The Rural Jur. For those of you who out there may be 30 Rock fans.
Talk.
Oh my God.
Clouds.
Yeah.
Somebody got a fucking contact high. Jesus Christ.
It's a cumulus cloud.
Dude, I'm
What's the
getting
other kind?
secondary.
What are the other
smoke
kinds of
over here.
clouds?
Oh, cumulus. That's it.
What?
There's just
nothing
2
else?
kinds of clouds?
Like stratus.
The only one I can think of.
Like stratus or something.
Shit, they really did teach us that shit, and I just totally forgot.
Is Nimbus just like a thing from Dragon Ball, or?
Oh no, Nimbus,
No, Nimbus is one. Nimbus
Oh,
is like
okay,
the.
cool. All right, word.
I think Nimbus
I
is like the looks like cauliflower, like the bulky.
Television taught me shit, man. Dragon Ball taught me how to be a man.
Oh, God.
Nimbus.
Did it?
How are you still hitting that? I'm gonna cry for you.
Toro baby.
Oh my God.
This is
That's
personal.
living.
Is that dab 2? Are we competing with Jade?
Jade's
Yeah, it's
going
dab
down.
number 2.
Oh my.
I don't know
Oh
how many did he take? He was in there.
I don't know how big Jade's dabs were.
True.
Right, that's a good point too.
That one that I just did was pretty big.
Yeah,
was
we'd
a
have
big
We'd have to get him to. We'd have to watch the video over again.
We're
to
gonna
understand
slow
how
mode
he-
the smoke coming out.
We have to
We're gonna get that on sports
I
science.
was just about to say,
get the one ticker.
I was about to say Andy's not coughing, and then he fucking goes into a fit.
We have an Eric cough ticker now clicking.
We need Snoop Dogg to analyze that shit on sports science.
Maybe if we're
Oh.
really cool, that'll make it on Top 10 Rips, which is my friend Matthias's YouTube channel.
Get him on there.
Shouts out Matthias and Kate. Love you guys.
Shouts out
Matthias and Kate.
I know. I actually know somebody with that name. He's a Finnish man, and he came over here, spent about a week at my buddy Brendan's house, and that's the only person I've ever met in my life who was named. Well, I think he pronounces it Mattias. I don't actually know, but apparently that's a very common name in Finland. Mattias and Timu are like their most popular names, whereas here it's like John and Matt.
Timu is probably like Tom.
Yeah, I know Matthias is like very popular, like Norwegian or like that area.
Right, that area, the Scandinavian area, that whole encompassing area.
White people, dude. I'm not afraid of like offending white people. That's like
No, I mean, fuck white people.
Fucking
if I may be so bold, nobody particularly cares for white people.
Viking fucks.
Well, yeah.
We're really making martyrs of ourselves by saying that.
Yeah, right. The Vikings and barbarians, maybe they had a stronghold on what they did. So that's Scandinavian area.
Yeah, pillaging and shit.
Yeah. Oh, the world was a crazy place. The world was insanity.
Still is.
So now that's what I call Music 420. Mom Jeans, Prince
yeah.
Daddy, and Pictures of Vernon.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I want to ask one thing. Is Ryan Ellery the Deathbringer, or is he Rings?
Neither. Also, Ryan uses they pronouns, just so y'all know.
Oh, they.
I
apologize.
And no worries. I don't think they're super public about it, but yeah. Rings was like an old nickname that they used like early on in their recording career, and just like, I don't know, as you get older, you know, you kind of don't identify with the same names anymore, so now they just go by Ryan Ellery Recording. So yeah.
And what was Deathbringer?
Deathbringer, I think, was just like a joke of some kind. I don't know, man. When you're recording music and you're just like in the same room for like hours and hours, and when you're as bad as a guitar player as I am, and you're just doing the same riff over and over and over again, like trying to get a good take of it, and someone who is a way better guitar player than you is just sitting there pressing spacebar on Pro Tools and just like staring at you like, do it again.
And he
You're
did
just kind of making fun of yourself.
He did the solo
You
on
know,
Yes, correct?
Yeah.
That is a massive
totally.
solo.
Yeah, they're an amazing guitar player. Amazing guitar player.
And that was you, Prince Daddy, and Pictures of Vernon. I think I mentioned that, but just in case. Yikes is still a song that I go back to. I mean, on a constant basis. What do you remember about recording that with all three of you guys? I assume you were in the studio at the same time, or was it different sessions?
It was actually different sessions. So Yikes was recorded like on its own, like on its own independent thing. Specifically for this split, when we did, I think, you're gonna have to remind me, what came out first, the Grad Life split or the 420 split?
The 420 split.
The 420 split came out first, actually.
So the 420 split. Wait a minute, hold on. It was only, Jesus. They were within like a month or two of each other, huh? Okay, so yeah, the grad split was first then.
Hey, there we go. I was right. Okay.
Grad split came out a month or two before you.
The Grad Life split, yeah. So the Grad Life split came out. We recorded Shred Cruise and Heck You Bart and Vape Nation 2.0 all at once. Because we thought we were going to be doing 3 songs on the split. We we had started playing Vape Nation live
Mhm.
when we were touring because people wanted to hear it. And I personally I always if my band if I trust them and if they think the song sounds better acoustic, I will do that.
Mhm.
And in the case of Vape Nation and Pod Racing, they were written sort of last minute, so there wasn't really time to bring it to a band, and I'm not bummed about it because the songs work acoustic. But if it's a choice between having a song be acoustic and being full band, I'm gonna go full band 100% of the time, right? And and we realized that we wanted to have a recorded version of it, and we thought we were gonna put all 3 songs on the split with Grad Life, but Bart ended up only wanting to do 2 songs because that works better for a 7-inch vinyl. There's only so much
Right.
space that you can put. And 4 songs is kind of the max that you can get on a 7-inch. So we ended up doing that, and we had Vape Nation 2.0 already recorded, and we we had planned to I'd been spending a lot of time with Prince Daddy. We had gone this is after our first couple of tours, our first full US tour. We went to South by Southwest in the spring of 2017, right after the Grad Life split came out, I think, or maybe a month after it came out,
Mhm.
around that time. And I was still friends with Corey from P Daddy, and we had been talking and getting closer. And we had played together a couple of times, on the East Coast, when we had toured out there and stuff like that. And we're just getting closer. And I really like that band, and we had made plans to actually tour together. It was actually on the calendar, and shows were
Right.
booked and stuff like that. And that's how the 420 split kind of came to be. Is it was P Daddy and Pictures of Vernon, I believe, were had just kind of I don't know, when you're in a band and you're friends with someone else who's in a band, you talk about fucking doing splits together all the time. That's the
Right.
whole point of a split, basically, is just for you to get to collaborate on something.
Right.
And at the time, having in our minds, nobody cared about our band still, so we were just doing what sounded fun to us. And P Daddy and Pictures of Vernon were both kind of hey, we're planning on doing a split, and I think Jake from Counterintuitive is gonna press it. So why would you guys wanna, you know, make it a
Work with
3-way
us.
split and have it be hella epic? And I was absolutely, because at that time, P Daddy was, and they still are one of my favorite bands.
Yeah.
So I will
And
always jump at
Corey says very similar things about you guys, just so
yeah,
you know.
I'll jump at an opportunity to play with that band any chance I get. So um I think it was only a matter of time before that happened. And P Daddy, as you've seen too, is also they are very chaotic. Corey's a very, very, very chaotic guy, and doing splits is just 100% up that alley
Yep.
of
Awesome.
getting to be chaotic, you know what I mean? So it was match made in heaven. Worked out perfect.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so we did that, and that was super cool. And we just had to record Yikes because we were we have one song already, and we just need to do one more. So we wrote it and recorded it in a pretty quick turnaround time. But when you're only making one song, it's pretty fun. But I remember being really excited about it at the time, and being really, really stoked when we recorded it, because at the time, in my opinion, and I go back and I listen to that song, and it still really sounds fantastic. And we were also thinking, starting to think about what Puppy Love was gonna look like, and starting to think about the potential of an LP2, and kind of what we wanted to sound like on that, and what we were gonna want to sound like. And we were really excited at just the
Hell
fact
yeah.
that we got the drums. I think for some context, recording drums is always, I think, to be honest, a huge limiting factor in a band's budget, because you can make a guitar sound amazing in a bedroom if you have the right microphone and you have a good set of speakers. You know what I mean? If you have good gear, you can make anything sound good with very, very little equipment. But drums, natural drums, even if you have the best drummer in the world, getting drums to sound good in a recorded setting, and having, independence over all of those, and
Right.
being able to mix that and
Getting
edit
4
those
mics
things,
at once.
and yeah, well, and put that stuff on the grid, doing that in a living room,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to me, that's
Bullshit.
that's the greatest mark of an engineer. And that is the greatest like litmus test of, I think, like whether somebody can make you sound the way that they want to. Is like if they can record you in a living room and make you sound the way that you want to sound, then the person knows what they're doing. And I think with that, I mean, I can't really speak for Ryan, but I remember at the time there was just like some learning processes and some ideas surrounding how to record drums in a living room with just the equipment that was available and still getting them to sound as good as a drum kit fully mic'd up in $1,000 a day studio with the
Right.
nicest
That's what I always see. Yeah.
in having the final product, the mastered version, you not being able to tell the difference. The fact that, like, is like recording Best Buds wasn't a bad experience, like at all. Like we certainly didn't ball out, but like we didn't cheap out either. Like it was very middle of the line. I think would be pretty average for most bands, like first recording experience, like budget wise and time wise, and
Right.
I think like to know that we could spend literally no money except for just like this person's time, like our engineer's time at the time, Ryan, because like we were recording at their house, like weren't using
Right.
studio for anything, and they had all their own equipment. Like they're a one person studio, and it was amazing. It was ideal. And
Shout out to
super
Lafayette, California.
Shout out to Lafayette, California. Shout out to Ryan and like all the amazing work that they did on all of our music. Like it's really a testament to how good they are at their job. And
Clearly
I
an
remember
extremely talented person.
Yeah, clearly. I remember being
And-
super excited about bikes because it just sounded good.
And so moving on from that, we have what will be. I mean, aside from maybe some Sweet Tooth, my favorite section of the entirety of this, puppy love. Now, Lee Wargo, before we get into this, I need a wheel spin.
Oh,
I
boy.
need it. I need it deep in my veins.
So does Skelly
somewhere
over
right
here.
around here, because I have a lot to say about puppy love, and I'm gonna go in. If we shotgun again, it's gonna be off the fucking rails, pal.
Smoke.
Well, I can't. So,
Well, you're gonna have to
That can be accommodated.
I'm gonna power roll a joint because my pipe is still stuffed.
power
Reds.
roll.
my upstairs
Oh, boy.
neighbors are having a fucking clog session right now.
This-
Just
this-
fucking hammering away on the floor.
They're clog dancing, dude. That's
They
actually-
are fucking.
that's
Dude,
actually sick.
I can only imagine that they hold an actual rodeo or a stampede nightly between the hours of 7 p.m. and 4 a.m. What they do is just fucking slam on the ground as if nobody lives anywhere near them. And I will never be okay with that. But you know what? I'm just gonna have to deal with it.
That's so
I mean,
funny.
you,
We live
your best shots is just going up and joining them and just fucking clogging yourself.
Yeah, no, well, you
or
know,
just bang on the
sometimes.
ceiling, and they'll just be like,
Yeah, there you
"Wait,
go.
give them some bass.
their floors are having too noise." That would be really confusing.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We live right next to a school. Like our backyard touches like the parking lot of a high school, and so there'll always be like delivery trucks and stuff at like 5 in the morning, like downshifting and like unloading and like
God.
backing up. And
Yeah.
Joel, like we have like an in-law unit in our house, so it's just like a little shack in the backyard, and that's like the shack that Joel lives in. It's like Crumb's Castle, we call it. And like he will always like be up kind of at like 6 in the morning, and he'll be like, "What's up, Crumb?" And he'll just be like, "Trucks woke me up."
I wake up every morning at 4:30 on the dot to all 4, 5, 79 of their dogs just doing a howling competition with the neighborhood wolves, I imagine.
Their
Because
dogs
it's a
also
fucking,
clog
it's a choir. It is an entire orchestra of and I wake up to my dog in between my legs like, what the fuck is going on? Why can't I do this? Can I do that too? And I would lose my fucking mind if she did. So I refuse to allow it because I have to sleep more than 3 hours a night.
Absolutely. Dogs, man. So smart, but so
Get
not
that.
smart at the same time.
So we all smoked. I drank to lead us into the big one, puppy love. Now I wanna start. I wrote more notes than really necessary for this one, just because I could read it to you off the cuff without having any literature in front of me, if you will. Sponsor Me Tape was the first single.
Ooh,
Fucking whaler.
no, was it?
That
think
was the
Season
first
9 was
single
the
that was
first
out on Spotify.
Yeah. Okay.
And wait, was there another one that you thought was released ahead of that?
I think Season 9 was released before.
No, Season 9
YouTube.
was on Audio Tree. Only Audio Tree. I remember because I used to Google Season 9 episodes 2 and 3, and there was nothing that would come up.
I think, I mean, it might have been fixed now, but for a while, if you went on Spotify, Season 9 was its own single. I know for a fact because I was actually the one that like put the songs on DistroKid myself,
Okay.
and like I
And
actually
it got
messed it up.
changed afterwards, you're saying?
Yeah, and I got messed it up, and it's like Spotify at the time, they were going through a lot of changes about like just the way that they structured like how they kept things separately, and at the time you couldn't put an album on. Yeah, Season 9 episode 2 through 3 is a single on Spotify right now. You go
It
on
is a
Spotify.
single on Spotify, but from what I remember, I got the Sponsor Me tape in my Spotify release radar, and I remember the Audio Tree coming out because an old friend of mine was like, "Hey, don't you like this band?" And I was like, "What the hell is Audio Tree?" I was at my shitty
yeah,
job
we
at
played
Verizon.
it for the first time on Audio Tree. Yeah, so Season 9
Right.
was the first song got written for that album. And so that when we were playing on the tour that we did with TMP and Oso, and so we played that one on the Audio Tree because we kind of wanted to give people a little taste of.
And it worked out because I remember specifically you saying, "This one's about Grey's Anatomy," and how there was a bit of a lull
Where the
there.
title comes from.
And
Yeah.
I remember hearing that and being like, I'm gonna find a way to clip this Audio Tree live and put it into my own archives and library because I need this song more than I need anything. And I will tell you what, one quick input into my life on a softball team, a drunken male league softball team, I used to pull into the parking lot, whipping at 100 miles an hour, listening to Season 9 2-3 on over 100 volume, and just pulling up to my brother's car and being like, "Hey, you hear this? Yeah, this is Mom Jeans." On a constant basis. I'm talking twice a week,
That's
every
fun.
fucking time.
Mom Jeans is cool, is what
I
he's
bet everybody
saying.
loved that.
Oh, to be completely fair, most people hated me, but my brother's friend Clay, who is a very, very, very good guitarist, shout out to Clay Taranto one time. He came over to the car and he went, "What is this?" And I went, "This is Mom Jeans." And he goes, "Oh, sounds pretty good," and walked away. That was all he said. Very high praise from Clay. Very high
Thank you,
praise from Clay.
Thank you, Clay.
Clay, wherever you are.
Clay, wherever you are today, I love it.
what I at least wrote just to lead us into this one for Puppy Love. Out in the USA, counterintuitive, UK, Big Scary Monsters. We just want to give all of our necessary shout outs.
Yeah.
I left my towel at my friend's house and then they moved. Now
That happened.
I assume that part 2 obviously correlates to that song. I don't want to assume, but it seems as though with the
You don't want to type that again.
Part 2 is the greatest fucking Mom Jeans song that has ever been created in the history of
Oh,
song.
I'm glad you like that one.
It's my favorite. I
like
still
that one
listen to
too.
it every day.
So good.
I
It's super
can't
fun to
help-
play.
I can't help but listen to it on like a constant basis and just scream the outro. It really hits me deep inside.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting to see who relates to what parts of our music and why, because I think it changes, and it's interesting because I think that, I don't know, in a way you mentioned, like some of y'all mentioned that like Sobs or like Girl Scout Cookies is like your favorite from Best
Yep.
Buds, and like the content of that is so different from like part 2, so it's like it kind of probably proves that like your own tastes and your own interests and just like what you think is like sick in a song like changes over time, and I like the idea of being a band that like is there to grow with you.
Yeah.
If like
hell
your opinions on things change, because like that's what happens with us. like we're gonna get to it when we talk about with Sweet Tooth, but like it's gonna sound different than Puppy Love did. Puppy Love sounded different than Best Buds did because like what I think is cool and what music I'm interested in, what music I'm listening to is always gonna change. I hope it's gonna change, otherwise I'm gonna get bored.
Well, I
And
can't
I think
enough
that
stress the
knowing
idea
what
that
change,
although Puppy Love sounds so different from Best Buds, there was such a grasping factor because I remember so vividly showing Sponsor Me tape to an old friend of mine. His name is Lucas, and he heard the song and he went, "Is this the guys that made Edward Forty Hands?" And I went, yes, but this song right here, this is the one you got to listen to because there was just such a thrash element. There
Yeah.
was just such a, it fucking tears your soul in half. And I was so thrilled for the new album. And I remember I followed you literally on Twitter the day you tweeted that Puppy Love was coming out July 3rd. And I remember it was mid-June, maybe early June. And I remember saying, I'm going to be at this July 4th party and I'm going to play this so loud at midnight that nobody in this town is not going to know who Mom Jeans is. And we're on the corner of a huge street, like the exact corner right next to where the fireworks are being played in Assonet, Massachusetts. And I must have cranked I shit you not. I must have cranked the entire album for about an hour and a half. And every single person there was like, what is this about Cheetos and chocolate milk? What are you playing to me right now? And I was like, I don't think you understand that this is my entire existence wrapped up into, 11 or so neat songs. And it just hit me so harsh. What do you remember about the recording of Puppy Love? Did you guys know that it was going to sound so different? Or were you going into it with the hopes that you were going to expand and go a different style?
I mean, I think I knew, like, to be honest, like at least with the first two records, like they were always very much like probably obviously like very clear like reflections of like our influences and like
Right.
my own influences like as a
Yeah.
songwriter and bands that I like. And even though like I'm proud to say like none of the songs on Best Buds are like rip-offs, but like they're definitely influenced
Absolutely
by a
not.
certain sound, by a certain genre, and that's not that's not like up for debate. Like you could tell that I like
Right.
Mobo by listening to that record. You can tell I like Free Throw. I'm not going to debate that. And like I want that. And part of that is like my background of like music education and like growing up in um you know like classical music and like jazz music, like callbacks and stuff. It's like that's like a basic concept, and that's something like you do all the time. That's like one of the most basic things that you do in improvisation.
Yep.
And that was like one of my favorite things about jazz was like people throwing like realizing that the changes are the same as the melody is like some standard, and then like just throwing the melody on there, and just like totally and making people laugh because there's like music to me, it like always needs to have like aspect of like whimsicality. Like no matter how serious the subject matter is, like you can't take yourself too seriously if you're performing. Like at least for me, I can't take myself too seriously when I'm performing. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to get through it. Like I would just be too nervous. I'd
Right.
just be too anxious.
Yep.
I would just care too much, and I would be like too obsessed with my self image. And so it needs to be like whimsical, and there needs to be like a aspect of humor to it. And so wearing your influences on your sleeve and like having that moment where somebody listens to it and they go and they're like they're just like like the moments where and like it's
Yeah.
fun because when you're writing a record, it's like, oh, here's the Foo Fighters song, and like, oh, here's the Story So Far song, right? And like, oh, here's the Mobo song, and like, oh, here's the Say Anything song, like the ones that
Right.
really inspired by these. Or because I think while music is like very very broad and like original music is always going to keep being unique, like the spectrum of like feelings that you're there to convey is honestly not that big, I
Hmm.
guess. And at least for me, like what I feel I want to communicate in music are things that I feel like I have difficulty communicating in other aspects of my life. Like
Right.
I don't know, like sometimes I'll be honest with you, like I find it hard to I find it hard to write songs about like joy and extreme joy, not because I don't feel joy, but just because like when I'm extremely joyful, like just I don't feel like singing. You know what I mean? Like that's not
Maybe
what
at
I
that
feel like.
point you're more
That's
interested
not
in
me.
absorbing the feelings of joy rather than putting them
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Exactly, or like, or feeling, or I just want to be in the moment, like I don't want to bottle this, I just want to live in the moment, and everybody's entitled, I think, to get what they want out of music, and I think it's all a reflection of like your own experience and your own life, and I think like for me, like songwriting has always been kind of a diary and a way for me to say things that I would never be able to bring up um and never be able to. It's honestly kind of weird. It's like it's a form of validation of certain things that you feel like you necessarily can't communicate to people because um it would put your current relationships at risk, or it would be damaging to say to somebody. But if you say
Mhm.
it into a song, and it's like not to anybody in particular, it's not about anybody in particular,
It's a different
you still
feeling.
get to you still get to say this thing that's very real. And I think having it in a piece of music, like, it makes it concrete in a way where it's like, for me, it was almost a form of therapy, where it's like, well, if I can write a song expressing this feeling, I don't necessarily feel like I have to talk to somebody about it to feel better. And obviously, with the privilege of like having a platform, there comes this like a certain validation in knowing that, like, wow, there's other people that feel that way too, and that's cool. And I think that's part of the reason why I was drawn to music, because you don't need like a million fans to feel that. You
Right.
literally need
Yep.
one person to care about your band and to think that your music is good, to feel that sense of community and to feel like somebody sees you. It only takes one person.
Right.
And um I think like I'm really grateful for that, and that's part of the reason why I really, really need music. So I don't know. Yeah.
Does it feel strange, and this might be a little bit of a bomb to drop on you, but does it feel strange being like at the forefront of the scene? Because I mean, let's just be honest. You guys are probably, if not definitely, the most popular band in that scene right now. Does it feel like you guys are hitting a point where you almost feel obligated to help out the bands that you may have once felt like, where they don't exactly know their path and you're making all these
Oh,
friends along the way?
100%. I mean, I think it's interesting. I feel like what you said kind of has like two parts to it, which is kind of cool. And like the second part, absolutely 100%. I've always felt that way.
Mhm.
Like 110%. I mean, like I was getting at kind of before with like the Best Buds thing, like that was the end all be all. Like literally putting out that first album and just having a full length record out in the world that exists, because like that doesn't go away. That never unexists.
Yeah.
That's like
Right.
how the internet works. You know what I mean? I couldn't get
Same.
if that shit if I tried. I couldn't scrub it
Nope.
from the internet if I
Yeah.
wanted
Not
to.
a fucking chance.
Feel me? So
I gotta
it's like
download it, brother.
and knowing that is like that's like that's why just having a record out was the end all be all for me. And I think that once that happened for me, like once the record was out and we went on that first tour, like all of my wildest dreams for Mom Jeans came true. Like
Nice.
that, no bullshit. Like I
That's
got
amazing.
everything
No, it
that I
really
ever
is.
wanted from setting out to be in this band. Like everything that I ever imagined I could want and could expect, or anything that I felt like I was, even if we're being generous, maybe a little bit entitled to. Like that was the only thing. Like I feel entitled to have the opportunity to put my art out. I feel like I have the entitled to the opportunity to give it a shot and to take a whack at it. And I feel
Yep.
like everybody is entitled to a chance to give it their
Of
shot
course.
and like just see if it works and like see if they can do it. The same way that like people want to
Absolutely.
run a marathon or like climb a mountain because they want to see if they
And
can
you
do
may
something.
not even remember
Yeah.
this, but you said this at Sad Summer in Worcester, Massachusetts, on live on stage. You said, start a band. If you think
Yes,
you want to, start a band. Whether you are a
yes,
male, a female, or whatever, especially, and I quote, especially if you're not a white male, start a band right now.
yeah.
Because you are never
Mhm.
going to get that opportunity of inspiration the same way that you will when you want to start that band. So it seems like
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the band as a whole, but you seem to have such a grasp on how people would feel when they are actually trying to get out there and get known. Is it more of like an I love the scene, or do you feel pressure from that? Because you really do, you inspire a lot of hope in this kind of scene, especially when you say things like that.
Honestly, I think it'll be like it's probably a little bit of both. Like I I never set out to be like I don't necessarily agree that we are like at the forefront, of anything. I think one of the things that biggest things that I've learned in this band is that like obviously I have control over how I present myself to the
Right.
world. And I'm really as I get older, I try to be really, really careful about how I do that. And I think everybody does. But I've also learned that like I can't control how I'm perceived by other people.
Of
Like how
course.
you present yourself and like how you're perceived are like two very, very different things.
100%.
And no matter how hard I try to say that like we are or aren't influential, or how much we
You very
are
much
or
so.
aren't DIY, or we are or aren't part of this scene or that scene or part of this genre or part of that genre. Like I could sit here and be like, we're not an emo band, we're a power pop band now. I could do that, which maybe that's true. Like maybe that's what people think after Sweet Tooth comes out. Like maybe that's what I thought people were gonna think after Puppy Love came out. But
Right.
ultimately, like people are gonna think what they're gonna think and they're gonna draw their own conclusions. And the only thing that I want people to like ultimately care about or like really spend time grappling with is like, do you like it or not? Like
Right.
does it sound good to you?
That's it.
Because like
It's a great way to put it.
it's
Seriously.
like we should all know by now, like I think if you're in your 20s, you should know that like just like what you like. And
Right.
if as long as those people aren't hurting anybody, I think when it comes to situations of like abusers and like canceled people, it's
Yeah.
a different
Right.
conversation. But for the most part, like who cares if you like Taylor Swift or if you like Earth, Wind and Fire or if you
Yeah.
like hip hop music? Like
Like what you
what you
like.
like is what you
Just
like.
like what you
And
like.
what makes you inspired and what makes you want to make music, what makes you want to connect with other people and have conversations with other people, like I don't know, man. I'm not drawn to hater energy. Like I like people who like stuff. I want to
And
hang
that's
out.
how
I
it
want to
should be.
hang out with people who
That's
like
how it
stuff.
should be, man.
Yeah, and if you can like something and if something makes you like feel good, I think that's the only thing that really, really matters. And um, I've learned at least if anything out of self-preservation, not because I'm trying to be a role model or because I'm trying to be like a martyr or anything, just because I've learned that like people are going to perceive me how they're going to perceive me. So
Right.
there is literally no point in me trying to be anything other than myself. Like it's like that is pointless.
Yeah.
Well, you have a
Like,
great
like
outlook.
it's
That's clear.
so pointless because I can't control how people perceive me. So if I try to make
Right.
people think that I'm this kind of person or that I'm this kind of guy, or I try to play identity politics or try to do this or try to, like prove to people by one action or by one saying or whatever that I'm a good person, then I could be trusted and that I deserve my platform or whatever. Like
Right.
I'm just gonna go crazy. And
Go
anybody who
take it
cares
day by
about
day,
is gonna go crazy. And I think that we should if anything else, I feel like my bandmates and the people who have invested like their hard-earned dollars, their time into coming to our shows and like buying our merch and like supporting this like little band that we started a long time ago,
man.
like they deserve me to be genuine, deserve us to like be true to ourselves and to be real about what we want and not like show. And I think hopefully that's the energy that like you were kind of alluding to earlier when people come to our shows. Like, hopefully they feel like something real is happening.
It
Hopefully it doesn't
feels
feel like they're
it
watching
feels like a
like a
community. I'm
TV
not gonna
show
lie
or
to you.
a
Yeah.
Broadway show. Like hopefully they feel like they're seeing something that because it is every show is memorable to me.
Yeah.
I treat every single show like its own show and
Yeah.
I try to have as much fun as possible at every single one because like that's why I'm in a band. I want to be in a band because I want to play shows. So it's
Right.
like that's what I'm there for and I want to have a good time. And so getting to and like that's what makes me tick. Like that's why I want to do this. And so pretending that I'm about anything else or that I know more about anything else than I do is like really, really silly.
A
And it's
waste of time.
really the one thing that I feel confident saying though, like the one I guess like platform or like platform that I feel comfortable like standing on is that like I do believe anybody can do this if they want to.
Right.
Obviously, I don't mean to sound insensitive. There's a ton of socioeconomic factors and things that prevent people from being, taken seriously and from rising up in the industry when they should. But
Absolutely.
those, like, I will not deny that they exist. However, like, there are also a lot of people out there who just want to listen to good music and just want
100%.
to like stuff.
Yeah.
And I think in this day and age, it's really, really hard to remember, like, to understand and to remind yourself that, like, haters are loud and that they are also I say haters, like, it sounds so funny. I'm sorry. Like, people,
No, but you're
you
right.
know what I mean? Like, people who disagree with you are always gonna be louder, and there's always gonna be fewer of them than the people that wanna see you succeed. Like,
And
it
they
it
are
really
going
is
to
get to
100%
the
be the
mindset that, like,
loudest.
the world is bad and, like, everybody hates you.
Right.
Like, if you really have a story to tell, and if you have love and, like, compassion, and you wanna show that for other people, like, and if you want to have a good time and you just want to make connections with people, I think if you lead with that, like, you are going to find other people who want to support you and want to see you succeed, and
Hell yeah.
because everybody wants to be a good person.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to reward good behavior and good people because they want to be a good person and see themselves rewarded for being a good person. And so I think, like, being nice, like, it's not a shtick. Like, I genuinely care about this
And
and about how
one of those big things about being such a positive influence is it grows. You know what I mean? You can't deal with somebody who's such a good person and not let that kind of just come under your skin, because you feel that. You know what I mean? You feel that person exuding the good energy, and you feel almost obligated to reciprocate that. Now, hopefully most people will use that for a positive force rather than a negative, but it seems as though most of the people who come in contact with genuinely good people will try to push that forward and maybe, for lack of a better term, pay it forward. They would rather be a good person to the next guy rather than shutting them down and, doing something that, a good person wouldn't necessarily do.
Yeah, and obviously we're making a lot of generalizations, but as far as it pertains to, like, this community that, like, we're all a part of specifically, like, I think it's pretty fair to, like, generalize that about, like,
Oh, 100%.
people who are involved in, just because, like, like, if you're not, like, you're not gonna last long. Like, people aren't gonna tolerate you, and they're not gonna wanna spend time with you, and they're not gonna put up with your bullshit, which I'm thankful for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was always really important. Like, I'll be honest with you guys, like, kind of like I was talking about before, like how nobody cared about our band, and I assumed that, like, all my friends hated my music. Like, I still assume that when we go on tour. Like, I never assumed that a band takes us on tour because they like our music. Like, honestly, touring with Hobo, that was the first, or maybe Free Throw. They were really, really nice. But other than that, like, I never knew if anybody who asked us to tour with them, like, actually liked our band and, like, listened to us and, like, thought that our music was good. Um, and so I figured, like, at the very least, if people don't like our songs, like, we can just be friends and we can just get along. And, like, I would,
I think it's
like,
no question that you're a good human being, my friend. I
I don't
do
well,
think
I
that
don't
that
feel like
is
I would
without
ever just personally, well, and that's I don't even need necessarily other people to tell me that I'm a good person. Like,
Mhm.
I just wanna be able to sleep at
I
night, and
feel it.
that's how I just
Yeah.
wanna be able to, like, that's the only way that I can honestly, like, feel good about myself and, like,
right.
have all of the good things that have happened to me happen. You know what I mean? Because, like, nobody deserves, like, anything. Nobody deserves all of the good that we have been, like, blessed with. Like,
Character is built when people are not looking, and you guys have done a great job of that. Quick shout out to Hobo Johnson, though. Me and Andrew went to
thank
go
you.
see you guys
Uh,
opening for Hobo
okay.
Johnson in
Ooh, he's nice.
Providence,
Nice
right?
guy.
No, Boston. No,
Nice
Boston.
spot. Yeah.
I thought it, no,
Oh,
it was
Boston. Yeah,
Providence.
that was
No, it was
honestly,
Boston.
Was
no,
it?
that was Boston. There was no Providence show on that tour yet.
That was
Okay, so we were
But
at the House of
that was
Blues.
it was at the House of Blues.
that whole tour.
House of Blues.
House of Blues Boston. That was my favorite set of the whole tour. That
Oh,
was
really?
awesome.
That was
I
that was a
just got a new
wild
car.
night.
I was hanging out there.
Just got a new car. I was like, I'm so epic.
Yeah. That
Before
place
we
I was
move
like,
on, though,
I like
Eric,
did
I need your favorite song off Puppy Love right now. Don't think about it. Go.
part 2.
Ah! Yeah.
I will also say part two.
Chad's
Oh my
song.
god.
It
I
is part two.
I couldn't be more justified in my constant spamming of that song in our
It's
Discord.
also Towel and Glamorous are, I believe, the only Mom Jeans songs that have like never been played live before.
If
Ever
you
been played.
could, I actually, I'm not even gonna lie to you. I tweeted you guys numerous times to play part 2 at Sad Summer. Didn't get that one, but you know
Never
what?
gonna happen, bro. Never.
Oh, how dare you! I am so hurt.
Sorry, no, I'm not being mean, but also like Sad
Oh my
Summer, like we were given like 25 minutes max on that
Yeah,
tour
was
to like
cut
set up our stuff, play,
that
and
was
tear down
too
our stuff.
short, man.
I'm not complaining. It's just like that is what it is, and so you really, and also like half the people are there for state champs, and the other half of the people are there for Wonder Years, and you hope that people will like your band and maybe buy a T-shirt. So
Well,
It seems as though but you did tweet. Don't expect us to play anything but the hits before Sad Summer. And I drove with Andrew, this gentleman, and our buddy Nate. And on the way there, I mean, I must have played part 2 100,000 fucking times. And our buddy Nate, who doesn't actually, he's not like super into the emo community or anything. He was like, wow, I hope they play this song. And I had to turn to him and I was like, you know what? I just don't think
no, buddy.
I don't think they're gonna.
That's
Viri,
how you know you're a real fan, though. It's like you're introducing the band to somebody and getting them excited about something that they're never gonna see.
But I need it.
Would
you guys be interested in ever playing like a cut back show, like an acoustic, like an MTV Unplugged?
Maybe someday.
Viri, give me
I
your
want to do like the Foo Fighters
love
with the full orchestra and like percussion section and like violins and stuff. That would be badass.
That would be something. Viri, favorite
we got my favorite song off Puppy Love. Oh, I already said mine. Sorry.
Yeah, he said part 2. Viri?
I'll say it's a mood for me, but like earlier when he was speaking about the drummer and how quick he was recording it. I don't know. I think John Bon Jovi, the drum lines in that song are fucking just get me going, dude.
Great
Bon
That song
Jovi.
for the drumming in that song is fucking incredible. And that's
Lee, what do we got? Favorite song off Puppy Love?
My favorite is part 2, and then John Bon Jovi.
I would say part 2, and then You Can't Eat Cats, Kevin.
But
I would.
If I'm
that
in the
song,
mood,
that song fucked me up.
Cats is super fun to play.
If
Yeah.
I'm in
Can't Eat Cats.
If I'm in the softer mood, pod racing is.
Oh, I actually saved like a whole period of just pod racing. So I guess
if I'm driving, not trying to headbang while I'm fucking chilling. And so, but I can't headbang to pod racing. Trust me, because I fucking have. But
I've played pod racing in my car more times than I can count. Probably more than any song off the entire album. Maybe excluding part 2. I can't.
That's another one that's never gonna get played live
And
again.
I'm so hurt by knowing this. I am heartbroken by understanding that is the case.
Like that sometimes.
yeah.
So would you say that okay, let's rifle them off. The show songs, if you will, off of Puppy Love. Probably season 9. Maybe John Bon Jovi.
On a good night.
Heard it, though.
You Can't Eat Cats. And
Pickle Bart is another one that's a really
I love Pickle Bart.
that's a toss up. Like part 2 is probably my favorite on the album, but the ones that we do play, my favorite to play is Pickle Bart for sure.
That's your favorite one to play in any given show.
We always jump like in the middle of it.
Hell yeah.
The energy is great and it's always fun.
Sponsor Me tape though. That has to be one, right?
Oh yeah, we usually when we can get away with it, it's just a longer song.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like as we've been a band for longer and as our catalog grows, I feel more responsibility to be mindful of just like how much music we're actually playing and how much time we're taking out of a set. I'm hoping that like when quarantine is over and gigs start happening again, because we're kind of starting from scratch, that there is a little bit more attention paid to like not overbooking shows and being able to actually, pay bands, Because I think after a while, like it just becomes forgettable, like seeing like 5-band, 6-band bills, like and it's exhausting. I'll be honest with you, like I've been to a lot of shows and like I love shows, right?
Right.
Like I love shows.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't get
Hell
me
yeah.
wrong. I love a gig as much as anybody, but 5 bands, it's a lot.
It's
Yeah.
too much. Yeah.
And I've been to shows where there's 2 bands and it's too long.
Yeah.
I've
Like, it's
performed
not
at shows with
impossible.
13 acts. I know
Yeah, it's
what you
not
mean.
to just have a show be too long and to just be exhausting. And I think that like nobody like not to discredit like we all know that there's like fucking DIY champs out there that have been to
course.
every set of every fucking show and never miss one and watch every single band and are the absolute like bleeding hearts that fucking like make and break like certain towns. Like there's cities that people go to because they know that kids just go to shows.
Hell yeah.
And like and I fuck with that. I
That's
absolutely
awesome.
fuck,
That's sick.
you know what I mean? And I yeah, I kind of forgot what I was getting at and lost my train of thought a little.
Don't you worry about it. It's time for Sweet Tooth. We need a wheel spin and I need a cold one.
Yeah. Do you think
I'm
4 is the
excited.
best number?
taking
Do
a-
you think it's 3?
Huh?
Do you think 4 is the best like amount of bands or 3?
Oh, I think 3-band. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. 3-band gigs, I think, would be ideal. I'm hoping that when we get back to like shows again, people are a little bit more mindful. And I'm hoping that shows are shorter because I really like there's no reason why an opening band, right? Like say it's a band that is like the opening slot on like a 350 cap venue tour, right? Like not tiny, but not small by any means either. They're probably getting paid $150, $200 a night, right? That's like they're busting their asses just as hard as the headliner that's probably in like a bandwagon or a tour bus or like, has a crew and has people doing their work for them. And to me, I've I've always been uncomfortable being on tours where like the difference in the amount of time played between the first band and the last band is like insane.
Yeah,
And
like
there's like
10
4
minutes
bands on
and
the
then
show.
50
It's
minutes.
like,
Yeah.
oh, you have this like great band that just put out a ballin' ass record and is getting paid like literally less than the guy who is working door is getting paid to work tonight, and you have them play for 20 minutes.
That's a good way to put it
Meanwhile,
too. Yeah. I didn't even
meanwhile,
realize
this
that.
headliner that the only reason that anybody is at the show is because they brought 3 good openers on the tour that everybody wanted to see
Yeah.
is playing for an hour and a half
Mm.
and 5 guitars and multiple tuning changes and a fucking intermission in
Mhm.
their set and playing all their albums in their entirety, and it's like it's always seemed insensitive to
They're
me
not giving enough
to
back. Yeah.
Lee
I
Wargo,
just
let
to
me get
me
a wheel spin.
yeah, tour and shows have always been a collaboration for me between not only like just the band and like the venue, but like also the bands and each other. And I think that like there's an amount of respect that comes to that. And I want to be mindful of how long we are like playing for. And so if there's a lot of songs, and here's the thing, 40 hands, gotta play it. Like
Mm,
we can't not play 40 hands and
you
we can't
can't.
not play Death Cup. Like
Right.
there would be if it's a Mom Jeans show, we can't not play them. Like there would be a
Yeah.
riot. So,
There would be a riot.
Are you still trying to find out that magic number of like how many minutes you think you should be playing?
yeah, I think minutes. I think that there's something magical about a 4-minute song that is like amazing top to bottom, and it's just like great for the whole 4 minutes. Like nothing wrong with that. What? What happened?
We have the shotgun.
Let's go.
All right.
Oh, shotgun. Oh, I'll have to heat up.
You want to
again.
heat up that nail?
All right, hold
Oh,
on.
yeah.
Song length.
Give me a second.
I'd say the song length depends on the genre for sure.
I'll listen to a 45 minute set of just part 2.
As a big Pink Floyd song,
I'm just fucking with you.
a big
I would
Pink,
though.
a big Pink
For
Floyd.
me,
fan,
I'm honestly
my favorite
more
song's
concerned
like
about
15 minutes
album
long.
length than song length.
You're right.
Really, 15 minutes? That's crazy. I do like a good song. I think it depends on the genre. It depends on what kind of mood you're in. At least for me, like, I'm gonna be like, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble who likes Mom Jeans, but like, and I don't want to sound like an asshole, but like, we're not reinventing the wheel here.
Okay.
Like, when it comes to music, you know, like at least
Right.
Mom Jeans isn't. I know we're not. Like, we've always worn our influences like very proudly on our sleeve, and always like I've always tried to be really upfront about like I love these bands and I want to be in a band that sounds like these bands, and I don't think there's anything,
Yeah, you're
you
just
know,
having fun with it and it's making it work.
yeah, I don't think there's anything, you know, wrong with that, but like we're not reinventing
Not
the
at
wheel
all.
here, and I'm not gonna pretend that like
No one can get
we
mad
are
at you for that. It's still
no,
love
I'm
listening to
not
your music.
something special, or that we're like
Yeah.
if somebody wants to write some hate, like not hateful, but I guess like if somebody wants to say that like our band is derivative, or that it is boring, or that we are, you know, just like recycling old ideas and like old stuff like from bands that have done it before and done it better, like I don't disagree with any of that stuff, and I'll be honest, like this band wasn't started to do any of those things. Like it was started to appreciate this style of music and
Yeah.
to appreciate bands that play good music in whatever capacity we tend to think of it.
Mhm.
And I think that's the one thing that is always gonna make Mom Jeans, regardless of what we sound like, is just like it's gonna have us being ourselves, and that's always gonna be different. And I think that is what Leigh was getting at earlier. Like it makes something that you can grow people can grow with and they can mature with, and you can hopefully be a part of their life for a long time, because there's already a huge like diversity in like, the age of the people that really like our band. Like I've had
Yeah.
people that are in their 40s that love us, couples that like can't get enough Mom Jeans, and like there's like fucking 13-year-olds love Mom Jeans, you know what I mean? Like it's funny. It
All
is literally
encapsulating.
Right.
honestly, like, I think that's a compliment more than anything else, and it's like, I love like, our shows are kid friendly, I swear, I won't lie, I swear, and I smoke a doobie from time to time, but, like like, and, like, not enough like, moms are welcome at the Mom Jeans show, like, dads are welcome at the Mom
Of
Jeans show,
course.
grandparents,
Yep.
bring them to the gig, kids,
Bring
bring
every
them to
single
the
one of them.
family, somebody who's never been to a show before, bring him to the gig before, because bring him to the gig, because like I want to see people just at the show like having a good time, and I want
Yeah.
people to feel comfortable. I never want anybody to not want to come to a Mom Jean show for any other reason other than they're like, this music just isn't for me.
Right.
And if it's not,
Of course.
that's cool, because there's plenty of music out there that isn't
Right.
for me, and shit I wouldn't go to. So I'll take it.
How
Mom
hot's that
Jeans,
nail, though?
$15.
And
Oh,
hate it.
I'm going
I
there.
I forgot all. I
How
forgot all about
dare
this.
you?
I forgot all about this. Wait, I
I'm
gotta get-
sitting over here with a Zach Allwarden.
I gotta
Shit.
get. I gotta get one.
I talked all this shit about how I was gonna smoke so much weed compared to Jade, and
I mean,
I'm
hey,
already
you're
forgetting.
doing a great job. Jade seems to be, I mean, the e-nail, as you described it, I believe it was called.
The convenience is just, it's another level.
Is that just a nail that's like hot all the time, or what is I don't understand.
So there's like an electromagnetic coil that like wraps around the nail basically, and it's plugged into like an electrical box like a tattoo machine basically would be,
What the
and it
fuck?
has like a temperature reading, and it heats the coil and it at a steady temperature. So like you can just have it set to like 500 degrees or whatever, and it'll just
outrageous.
stay hot
For
the
the
whole
vamps.
time. So it's like you don't have to shoot your nail, and you don't really have to like time it or anything, and then yeah, it's just ready to go. But also you have a hot piece of metal that'll burn you at any time just sitting on
Right.
your desk.
And
It's
he
not
was
something that I
he was just dunking the dabs, and he also had told us that the night before, which I believe was Christmas, he got absolutely hammered on wine. So he was only interested in smoking weed that night, not drinking at all.
yeah, that sounds 100% like Jared. I love
All right, to the ceilings, boys.
Oh
like
God.
it sounds like him to like get super drunk or whatever, but just him to be like, nah, man, like I'm gonna smoke weed today.
Whew.
Oh my god, I'm gonna die.
All right. Going in on some key lime pie.
Dessert time already?
Oh!
Oh no!
All right.
How dare you.
I might as well go in.
Straight from Humboldt, California, baby.
Oh yeah.
Emerald Triangle.
I've looked and almost bitten on so many job postings in like what is it called, Aura, right on the coast. Is that one of the towns? Yeah, for like fisheries management. That's like kind of my background, and they have a lot of freshwater ecosystems over there.
I'm sorry, are we talking about fish? Real quick. Fuck SeaWorld.
Yeah, big
Oh,
fuck
SeaWorld. Fuck SeaWorld. Fuck SeaWorld.
big one for them.
We don't agree with their unethical treatment of animals. What's that?
Weird timing on the fuck Seed World, but I back it.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
It was.
that's
Can I just say, it was funny as hell whenever Corey was on. He's like, I loved SeaWorld. Whenever I was a kid, he's talking about.
He had a great time at SeaWorld, but he still was in agreement with us
with
on
the
unethical
treatment of the
animals.
animal. Yeah.
My little brother
I
saw
love
that
Corey.
clip and was like, "What's your problem
He's
with
great.
Shamu?" I was like, "I don't think you understand that they just like assault and just treat these animals like pure garbage, and we can't stand behind this as a society." In 2021, we need to move forward and get fucking rid of SeaWorld or need better treatment.
I agree.
I just started looking at school again in San Diego, and I was like, ugh.
Why don't the
It'll be so hard for me to live there and not vandalize SeaWorld.
What's that, Eric?
why do the animals that live there not have a union?
Oh boy, you shouldn't have. You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch.
Orca,
All right.
Orca 112.
May we talk about Sweet Tooth? Cough ticker?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I love Corey.
Say what you need to say, my brother. Say it. Shout it out.
I said I love Corey from P Daddy. I love you,
Oh.
Corey.
Shout out Corey.
That's it.
We love
Shout
Corey.
out Prince Daddy. Love you guys. Unbelievable band, unbelievable human.
Very good episode.
So, Sweet
Don't
Tooth.
worry, I can manage my cough pretty good because I cough into my COD headset all the time.
It's actually remarkable the fact that you have not coughed, because the hit that you just took could pollute an entire area.
I have.
He's a
Tom would've
pro.
died.
He's a pro. I would have died. I would have been dead 4 dabs ago, Lee. I couldn't hope to do that. Okay. Derek's gonna come back with weed in a half a fucking hour, and I'm gonna take one rip out of the bong, and I'm gonna be toasted for the rest of the evening. I'm gonna sleep like a goddamn baby. I'll put down 30 beers. You give me one fucking rip out of a bong, and it's over.
Oh man.
I want Sweet Tooth knowledge.
Give me 30 rips.
What's
I'm
that?
good. Give me 1 beer. I'm done.
Oh, well, you know what?
30
That
rips to
is
one
the
beer.
beauty of life, my friend. Everybody has their own thing.
Lil Yin, Lil Yang.
So yeah,
That's what I say.
cool.
I want to know. I
Sweet
want to
Tooth
know
is-
about the Foo Fighters song.
Oh, yo. Dang, I can't reveal too much. They made me.
Reveal what you can.
I wouldn't reveal too much. The Foo Fighters song is not on Sweet Tooth, actually.
Oh, how dare you!
I don't know.
You teased us.
Yeah, we teased
You led
ourselves.
us
Honestly,
astray.
there's so many songs that I thought were gonna be on this album. I mean, it's never done till it's done, right?
Amen to that,
And
brother.
writing.
There it is.
Excuse me. Process for has been crazy. Not in a bad way, in a really good way. When this band started, it was just me and Austin in our dorm room, and all of the vision about what the band would sound like and about what the song would sound like and about what the album would sound like came from like his brain and my brain. And like, as you know, like, especially when it comes to making art, more minds are better than one, always. Like, just one more perspective or even one more person to agree with the existing one and assert that yes, it is dope and yes, it is cool. It's so valuable. And doing Best Buds and Puppy Love, I think trying to do another record with just myself and Austin, um, like spearheading all of those decisions and like making that. Um, I was tapped out after Puppy Love personally. I can't really speak for Austin as far as just like raw ideas and like stuff and songs that I wanted to write and what I wanted to do. If COVID hadn't happened, I would have already been taking this year off. Um, and we wouldn't have been playing any shows this year just because like I wanted to take some time off and reevaluate like why I was in this band and like what my goals were. And luckily it didn't really take long. It only took me being off about 4 or 5 months to really hit a rhythm with writing with Sam and Bart. And that's kind of what I was getting at. It's like you add two more.
Shout out to both Sam and Bart.
And I'll be like no bullshit with you guys. Like Sam is like my favorite songwriter in the world. Like he's like my musical hero. Like I already told y'all so much about like how much he's influenced
Also
me.
part of
Just Friends.
There we go.
Yeah.
Shout out to Just Friends once again. The JF crew for life, baby.
Crew for life, baby. But I think yeah, how much like that relationship has shaped me. And to be honest, like even before it was really a songwriting force in this band, like Bart's participation in Mom Jeans, like just as a functioning member and like somebody who shows up and plays the gigs and drives the van and like does everything in his power to help us be successful. Like I owe him everything and I owe him so much and I look up to him so much and I value his opinions and like he's one of my favorite songwriters in the world too. Like I basically we got to add like I was already in a band with like my favorite drummer and like one of my favorite like ideas songwriters guys in the world, which is Austin. Great. And then it was kind of like with this album, at least from the writing perspective, it was like, okay, now I get to add two more songwriters that are like my favorite songwriters. And it's just an ideal situation. And I'll be real with y'all, like there was some growing pains. Um, you know, like I've done a lot of work on myself in the last 2 years, and in that I've learned that like I was like I said, very type A, like I like to control everything and before like navigating two opinions and two ideas of what a song should sound like is a lot easier than navigating four. And getting four people on the same page for a song is a lot harder than you would think when everybody has complete veto power and like we'll just and learning how to communicate as a band and learning how to get through songs and have this person come up with an idea and bring it to the band and make it work and me come up with an idea and bring it to a band. Like I've never been in a situation before that was like that. It was always either I come up with the idea, teach it to everybody, or one other person in the band comes up with an idea and teaches it to everybody.
Yeah.
And like it's their song and they tell you what they want and it's just like that. And nobody really and you just hope that someone's good enough at their instrument to play what you have in your head. That is not at all how we like approached this. Like this album is definitely like a reflection of all of our musical tastes.
What
And,
can you
like,
tell us about Sweet Tooth? Give us some
Mm.
insight, if you can. We don't want
I
to
can
force
tell
you
you,
to do anything.
I can tell you a good amount. Like, just I can't really give away like logistical stuff. Like, I
Oh,
don't know.
no,
like,
absolutely not. Tell us what's
songs and
going
stuff like
through
that.
your mind while you're recording it.
Sweet Tooth is a concept album.
Oh,
the
I
most
love that.
And or maybe it's not. I'm sure people. I'm sure they will correct me if I'm wrong. But the concept for us was like ear candy. And
I love
concept was besides I mean like my experience with like kind of like the Mobo stuff and at least seeing where I felt following certain inspirations, namely like my close friends and their music and like leading with those inspirations where it took me with Puppy Love and feeling somewhat unsatisfied with that, like I kind of really wanted the challenge of just like writing something really, really poppy and
Right.
really, really catchy.
Yeah.
And instead of drawing on like my own, at least like the things that I liked as a kid because I was close to the people who made them, which that's great, that's valid. Instead of leading with that, leading the shit that I just liked as a kid because I thought it sounded awesome and because I was just
Right.
drawn to it. And I'm talking Fat Lip by Sum 41. I'm talking
Hell yeah! Shout out to Sum
I'm
41 real quick.
Hell yeah.
Sum 41. I'm talking my own worst enemy. I'm talking like
Oh
literally corny, but like literally just like radio fucking rock hits and
Yep.
shit
there
that
you go.
it just like, dude, I still get chills every time I hear Stacy's Mom, and it's like it's a creepy song.
Oh,
Like it's
such
Yeah.
a great song, though. Such a great
best ad
song.
libs that you've ever heard. Like, and if you and I urge anybody who like hasn't really dove into Fountains of Wayne to check out both of their first two records. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I can tell y'all that like I've been personally like I've been listening to a lot of Third Eye Blind and a lot of Oasis.
We have
Oh,
too.
big, huge fans of Third Eye Blind.
And just yeah, like been listening to a lot of Coldplay. Lately, in the last
There
year
it
or
is.
so with quarantine too, like my roommates, like Sam and Joel, have both been getting like they've always been really big fans of hip hop. I'm not like super into rap music, but they
Right.
both are, and like they have been drawing a lot of inspiration from just like more like pop music. So I think
Yeah.
Mom Jeans, I don't know, I would never accuse us of ever being a pop band, but I think Sweet Tooth is probably the closest that we're ever gonna get to being like a pop rock band or like a power
Now,
pop
I'm
can
band.
we
excited
get
for that.
can we
I
get
am
an
excited for
exclusive?
that.
Can we get one song title off of Sweet Tooth on Booze and Tunes for the first time?
Yeah.
Oh, amazing! I gotta hear it.
What? Okay. Something sweet.
Oh,
There it is.
Booze and Tunes
Gave away so much.
official. That's a Booze and
I'm
Tunes.
just remembering because it's like I wrote a lyric sheet for that, and because it was short, and there's a 5% chance that someone could take a picture of that and put it on the internet. So
Now, before we
technically
get
not.
into the lyrics and the trivia games, I did want to say one thing. Do you know how I found that you and Prince Daddy were performing in Pawtucket, Rhode Island?
Ow.
One day I opened up my email, and in my Google Docs there was somehow a fucking entire tour list of
Yeah.
Mom Jeans. And I still to this day have no idea how that happened. I
Somebody
woke
probably
up.
forwarded it
I that would be incredible, and that would solve so many mysteries in my life because I texted Andrew and I said somehow I have this entire tour schedule in my Google Docs, and I know for a fact they are performing in Pawtucket, Rhode Island,
And that's the
and I lost my mind.
we've been to that
Yeah.
venue a million times. It's one of our favorite fucking venues.
Oh, I
So
love
like
that place
that,
so
just
much.
that matching up with you guys playing instantly.
It was incredible.
fucking screamed. Yeah.
That tour was
R.I.P.
super
to the Front
interesting.
Bottom Show.
We had just finished the second leg of the Puppy Love tour, so we released Puppy Love, and then we went on basically 2 full US tours in a row. Like we went on a full US, and then we came home for 2 weeks, and then we went on another full US because that totally makes sense.
Right, that's the way
And
that's the way it happens.
on that tour, we didn't really we didn't really have a great experience with the person who booked that tour for us. And like maybe I was premature in doing so, but at the time it just made more sense to like fire them and like get a new agent. But not even that,
Right.
like we decided that we wanted to try booking an entire tour DIY, but like at venues and just see what would happen if we just led with like, hi, we're Mom Jeans, like we've played here in your city, like these people can vouch for us, like
Right.
this is how many like and like real shit, like this is how many tickets we sold in Chicago like last time we played there, and like this is how many tickets we sold in Boston. Like feel like we could probably do decently well. And around the same time we were getting the offer for the Sad Summer tour, and it ended up working out really, really well because we kind of had some leverage with folks, and we were like, hey, well, like we're planning on doing this tour, and like we're booking it ourselves. Like we don't have an agent, and like we can't really respect this big ass radius clause that you're leaving. Basically, they didn't want to us to play anywhere that Sad Summer was playing like within 6 months before those shows, which is industry standard for like a big summer style festival. Like it's not
Right.
big, but we had a tour booked for March. And Sad Summer basically was, like, we don't want you to play New York City. We don't want you to play Boston. We don't want you to play here because, like, we want you to, we would rather you play here on Sad Summer. But we were like, well, I don't know if we can do that because, like, we don't have an agent. And, like, we booked this tour ourselves and, like, we can't just back out now. And, like, it would make us look really bad and stuff. And so as a result, they offered to help us, like, book a couple of the shows. So we basically got them to help us like book a DIY tour, and I got to feel like Fugazi for a month. It was like pretty cool.
I mean,
that Sad Summer show was insane.
That Worcester City, Worcester was like a hot choice, like that parking lot, but it worked.
That was absolutely wild, man.
It worked. Like the parking lot between like 5 buildings just turned out like to be a sitcom. It was hot as fuck.
We got there, and it was about 102 degrees.
Shit.
And I mean, living in Massachusetts our entire lives, it was mainly like, holy shit, how the hell are we gonna survive in 102 weather while waiting for our favorite band to play? And the answer was alcohol. That was the answer of how we actually figured out how to wait to see the Mom Jeans set, the Wonder Years set, and then when I'm gonna be really.
The only reason why I survived that tour is because I just like gave up on giving a shit about anything at all.
I didn't even know who State Champs was. I'm not gonna lie.
I didn't know what van I was in. I didn't know what bed I was sleeping in. I didn't know. I knew where my bag of weed was.
Yep.
I knew where my jewel was. I knew where my phone charger was. And I called my girlfriend every day. And other than that, I didn't care about.
I was so fucking drunk by the time State Champs performed that, as I said previously, I didn't even know who State Champs was. I had never heard their name in my entire life. And I remember,
and then 4 Years Strong after that was my favorite.
But we were like the front stage all the way to the left. It was 7, 8 of us maybe. And I remember vividly being like, wow, I'm really fucking drunk. And then I got crowd surfed across the entire crowd, and my phone fell out of my pocket. I got dumped over the fucking bearings, and I came back, and our buddy Nate, shout out to Nate one time, came running at me full speed, and he was like, I got your phone! I got your phone, dude! Yes. And I was like, how the fuck did you get my phone? And he was like, dude, the second it dropped out of your pocket, some very nice woman was like, hey, I think this kid just dropped his phone. And he could have totally been lying, but Nate was like, that's my friend. I will take that back to him. And that is how I got my phone back from that entire stage, mosh pit, crowd, whatever you want to call it.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was incredible. Really one of my favorite shows that I've ever been to.
It's beautiful.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the trivia and the lyrics, Lee Wargo, I think you know. It's time. Eric, how do you fancy yourself in trivia and lyrics?
It depends. Is it like my own songs or is it someone else's songs? Or just music trivia in general?
I'm not going to answer that
bad.
specifically.
Feel bad. Very bad. Very bad. Very bad.
What do we got?
I can't remember my own songs. I will mess up the lyrics. If there is one person in the crowd who's screaming loud and sings the wrong lyric,
trivia.
It actually landed on Shotgun, but I turned it to trivia.
It's a great day for it to land on trivia. I'm gonna exclude what you just said. What band from Yardley, Pennsylvania, was referred to as, quote, the heroes of the emo revival?
The heroes of the emo revival.
I know for a fact Eric knows this one.
Yardley, Pennsylvania.
I'm gonna guess the Menzingers.
Oh no, great band though.
Great Philadelphia area.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Can I Google where Yardley is? Because I don't know where that is off the top of
That'll be Algernon Cadwallader.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not like super well versed on like lore. I'll be real with you. Like as far as like band lore, where a lot of people are from, I just like
You are in for a
I
lot
like
of
up.
smoking, my friend. Load,
Yeah, no,
load one up.
I'm literally just like, is their band good?
Oh my god. You know.
All right, I might have to make some adjustments. I'm gonna switch to cold starts here.
Oh, what is that?
I don't have to do a full heat up on the nail. I can just
okay. I don't
drop
understand dabs at all. If that was unclear at any point.
no, it's all good.
I wish I was as tough as you, dude. I would be so cool.
Fuck.
I'd be just as dumb without the gut. But I'm
That's
getting
Pete.
laid. What?
It's P Daddy.
He knows.
Fuck.
I think the rest of us have to take a drink.
Song, but that's P Daddy for Shody.
That's Clever Girl.
Clever girl.
Great song. Fantastic
Good.
song.
I wasn't ready for it.
Good band.
Which
Good.
Into It Over It
Band's
album
incredible.
was placed on Rolling Stone's 40 greatest emo albums of all time.
I have no idea.
Man, I've listened to plenty of songs. I don't know the album names now.
Well, say it again
I
in
say it-
accent.
Which,
Not in-
in an accent. Which Into It Over It album was placed on Rolling Stone's 40 greatest emo albums of all time.
Fucking what accent's that?
That's my best interpretation of a British accent.
An old English librarian, just like sick of.
That's intersection.
Into It Over It album.
The album that Andrew literally showed to me. He does not know the name of.
Nice.
But I showed you songs. I don't know if I
Nope,
remember.
you showed me that album
Well,
specifically.
Here we are.
What famous band formed from all members attending Benson High School in Minnesota?
Wow, Minnesota.
Moving parts.
Oh,
baby.
he knew. I tried to sneak that one past him. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it.
He's like, oh, he won't. If I say siblings, it'll be too obvious. But if I just say
Summertime and the
Am I
wind
right
is blowing outside in Lower
You are
Chelsea.
right.
I don't know what I'm doing in the city. The sun is always in my eyes.
That's one of the songs off the new Pup record, right?
That's the exact same one. It's not. Summertime and the wind is blowing outside in Lower Chelsea, and I don't know what I'm doing in the city. The
Chelsea
sun is always in my eyes.
That's a Pup lyric, right?
It's not. I know Veery knows this one, though. I'll give you a hint. We talked about this band already.
Is it Bay Faction?
Nope.
Fuck.
R.I.P. to Bay Faction, though. Great band. I'll give you a little bit of the rhythm on that one. Summertime and the wind is blowing outside in Lower Chelsea, and I don't know what I'm doing in this city. The sun is always in my eyes.
What am I supposed to do? With
I don't even want to listen to the song anymore.
That'll be Motorcycle Drive-By by Third Eye Blind.
Wow, you ruined it. You actually ruined it.
How dare you?
I fucked that one up. No, I fucked that one up.
What
That'll do.
Torrance, California band first thought of making music while, and I quote, drunk during a visit to Disneyland?
Joyce Manor.
Oh!
Damn.
Fucking nailed it!
You said Torrance,
trying to
California, and I was like, Joyce Manor.
I'm trying to sneak these ones in there. I'm trying to sneak them in, dude.
No, he's
There's no such thing as an obscure Southern California band to me, my friend. I'm sorry.
We'll see. We will
You can get me
see.
with the Pennsylvania stuff, but
Oh, we'll see. Sometimes I feel like I'm watching my life from behind my eyes. Lately, I felt like I'm living my life from inside my mind.
it feels like that could be a lot of people.
This is a specific one for you, Eric. I'm not gonna lie.
Is it? Really?
This
I
one
hate
was This one was trying to be tight. This one was trying to be real obscure.
Hit me again.
Sometimes I feel like I'm watching my life from behind my eyes. Lately, I felt like I'm living my life from inside my mind.
I don't know.
That'll be mover, shaker, zipper.
Oh, Zipper. Is that? That's on like side B of the new record, right?
It absolutely.
A while I'm going to bed, and then I fall asleep before it gets to side B, so I don't know those songs as well.
What DC emo band released their debut Quiet Hours EP on Chatterbot Records? What'd you say?
Origami Angel.
Oh, he knew it. All right.
Yeah.
There it is.
All right. I'm
Funny
going
gang,
to give you a quote. You tell me what band they're talking about. Began as a punk rock band, largely abandoned the genre in favor of funk rock and pop rap.
Funk rock.
Hit me again.
It began as a punk rock band, but largely abandoned the genre in favor of funk rock and pop rap. I'm not saying the
Just
quote
Friends?
is correct. Oh, it is Just Friends.
Not incorrect. And that's not shade either.
I would
Hey,
swallow
ball.
my pride. I would choke on the rinds, but the lack thereof would leave me empty inside.
We all know this song. I don't know. Hold on.
Fury might be the only one who actually knows the song.
Are you kidding me?
I'll give you a hint. They're huge on Twitter right now.
Was this Eve 6?
Yep.
Yeah.
I would swallow my
no.
pride. I would choke on the rinds, but the lack thereof would leave me empty inside. Shout out to Eve 6 one time.
What's the name of the song though?
It's Inside Out.
Oh.
It's Hard in a Blender
Word
song
rock.
if you follow their Twitter. Just saying.
Heart in a Blender.
Song, really.
What legendary emo band was formed by brothers Tim and Mike Kinsella?
Oh, come on. American football, right?
Mm-mm. You're half.
And then I
right.
actually don't know. I thought American football.
It's Cap and Jazz.
Lamau. Cap and Jazz.
Oldie.
I will.
I hope
hit you
nobody
with this,
judges.
What other band did Mike Kinsella form?
American football.
American and football. What was Kevin Devine's band?
Dude, they just all did a lot of good music. So
They did. They made some incredible music. I won't lie about that.
Shit.
What was Kevin Devine's band's name before he became a quote mostly solo act?
He had a band? I want to know this.
Miracle of '86.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I knew that at some time.
Had no
What
idea.
Epitaph Records? What Epitaph Records? Oh, well, I'm sorry. What band signed to Epitaph Records in 2018 to release their debut full-length Merci?
Save Face.
Shout out Save Face, New Jersey one time.
Jeez.
My boy Tyler.
Amen.
And I have the same guitar now.
Hey, Lee Wargo. What band's debut album was titled "To the Beat of a Dead Horse"?
I still can't believe you dropped Eve 6
To
on
the
us.
beat of a
Still-
dead horse?
Still stuck on that lyrics.
Well, there you are. Get on Twitter, you'll know.
To the beat of a dead horse.
I should know this. I can't remember.
If it helps at all, it was ... to the beat of a dead horse.
That doesn't help at all.
No.
What was the first part of the question?
Touche amore.
Oh.
Damn.
Sorry, I feel like I'm just getting called out for all the bands that people think I should have listened to, but actually have never listened to.
They're incredible.
Not for any other reason than I just I haven't
he
made
right?
the time. And if
Mhm.
I used to walk down to the docks in spring and drink tall boys on the rocks by the water, under the watchful eye of day-glow cranes that spread like floods from corner to corner.
Dude, I'm just losing right now.
The irony being that he showed me this song. That is Jeff Rosenstock, Wave Goodnight to Me.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
Sounds about right.
Oh, it does. That's I was like, but that yeah.
What was
What
the
famous
line? What was
punk
the line
band-
again?
What'd you say?
What was the line again? You didn't-
The line was, I used to walk down to the docks in spring, drink tall boys on the water, under the watchful eye of day-glow cranes that spread like floods from corner to corner.
Yeah. He's a beast.
Now he knows.
He's a beast.
One totally.
I knew
What
it.
famous punk band's name is derived from the, quote, skate trick named Melancholy?
Melancholy?
Oh.
Melancholy?
All right. Well, here you got that
Melancholy's
one. I literally pandered that to Lee Wargo, but you know.
Lee knew it. He just didn't.
Melancholy is great. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love Melancholy.
I don't know what skate trick is called Melancholy.
I don't either. That's what I was
I
thinking.
didn't even know that was a trick, but I mean, I've skated probably half my life. Never heard of that in my entire life, but nonetheless,
Is it not on Tony Hawk's? That's how you know.
it's definitely not on.
Like what they called melon grabs in the 80s.
Oh.
Okay.
I
That
wouldn't
makes
doubt that.
sense.
I actually wouldn't doubt that. All right. We have one last.
I've read the top autobiography like 10 times, so you can trust me on that one.
I believe you. I really do. We used to only do this on the weekends, but now it's almost every single night. I hear you down the hallway back there puking.
Microwave.
Oh,
Plummet.
Oh, before it was even over, dude. How dare you?
Such a good
interrupt-
No, I love that fucking song.
I know. Honestly, I was like, I'm gonna find a song that's not like their most popular.
No, that was
Hank's voice on that is
Incredible.
blows my
Incredible.
mind, dude.
Vomit is honestly, I feel like that was one of the more popular songs on that record.
It might have been.
So what I do is I search through Genius for like one of the middle packs of like people who actually looked up the song's lyrics. That song is like a very low middle area of the song lyrics that people have looked up. So
The
maybe
song-
that's just me.
It's fucking nasty.
The way that we always end these out, Eric, you have literally kicked it with us for about 3 hours at this point. You're a phenomenal person,
Yeah,
and we
crazy.
really appreciate you. You have been a kick-ass guest, and I can't say enough. I really can't. Let's get one more dab, one more cold one more wheel spin, but I have one more hard-hitting question for you while we do such.
Hit me.
What is
Do you think Sweet Tooth will be the epicenter of Mom Jeans? And you can take all the time you want. You explain whatever you want. You go off, my friend.
I don't know. Maybe I would say yes, but if I can explain what
Absolutely.
epicenter
Take your time.
means to me, I think to me the epicenter of Mom Jeans is. This is gonna sound super weird, but like one of my favorite bands of all time is like U2, and like Bono gets like super crazy deep, like back in the '80s, like talking about like some of his favorite records, and like he gets like super like weird spiritual and stuff about like albums and whatnot. But one of the things that he kind of alludes to is the fact that like an album is kind of like a snapshot of like a period of time in a band. Like no band is like stagnant. No band sounds the same for any one practice, let alone for a period of years, right?
Yeah.
So it's like it literally is that performance and that doing all of that together that makes a band a band. And I think Bono was like he was being a little bit like gratuitous about it for sure. But one of the things that he was kind of getting at is he was like, I just want this record. Like he's like, I like how right now feels. And he's like, I like this phase that we're in as a band. He's like, I really like the songs that we're writing right now. And he's like, I want to capture a snapshot of that now. Well, I have a chance. Like, I want to do that now. And so that's why we're recording this album, even though we just made one and just literally just got home from tour on the last album. Like,
Right.
we're going to make another one because like we're just killing it right now. And I'm stoked on us. And yeah, you know, that's cool. And I kind of feel that way about albums too, in the same way that like I think I want our records to be sort of a snapshot of like how I was feeling at the time and like the kind of phase of like what we were into. Because if you're genuine with yourself about that and you're real about like what those times meant to you and you actually like draw a real connection for yourself, like you're never going to get tired of it. Like I still get the same freaking feeling every time I hear that Counting Crows song from the Shrek 2 soundtrack. 'Cause that song just and it's been one of my favorites since I was like 10 years old. And like that's
Shout out to Counting Crows real quick.
shout out to Counting Crows, you know what I mean? And it's like that's what makes things timeless to me, and that's what makes things classic to me, and that's what makes an album good to me is the fact that like I hope somebody can listen to this album 10 years from now and still like it, or hear it for the first time 10 years from now.
Holds value.
Can we get
Cheers.
an area of release on Sweet Tooth?
No idea.
Worth a shot. Worth a shot. There's the ending dab. Bong rip. Shot. Everybody's ripping. Oh, my Lanta. That's just too much. That's just insanity. I mean, I don't know how. I hope you have a great sleep tonight because I would be dead in the water. Peaches.
I'm gonna go to Sonic, get some mozzarella sticks and a banana milkshake,
Dude.
play some Call.
Mozzarella sticks are the devil. I just want to say that. It's like the most delicious thing on the planet, and it's terrible for you, and I love them.
Anybody wants to play Call of Duty multiplayer with me? I got Black Ops and Modern Warfare 2. DM me on Twitter.
Anytime you want to play some
There it
games,
is.
you let us know, friend.
Yeah, dude.
I gotta say thank you for the depth of your conversation for this entire fucking.
Yeah,
thing.
seriously,
Yeah,
you
this was
were
awesome.
and about as good as a guest can be.
I was initially surprised just going into it. You don't know us, but you had the credit from the podcast before, but you were just open right away, and it was fucking awesome.
Yep.
And I appreciate that high level of respect.
Yeah. Not that I'm in any position to tell anybody what to do, but I just like I'm at my most comfortable when I'm just like being my genuine self, and like I appreciate you guys, and just like I also like I think you kind of like know that already because like the nature of your podcast is a little bit kind of like you want to break ice and just like have a good
Mhm.
you're already kind of doing activities like trivia,
Yeah.
like drinking beers, like smoking, like hanging out, things that people do to kind of break the ice anyway, you know. And
Hell yeah.
I appreciate that, like you try hard to make an environment where people feel comfortable, and it works.
Well, we
And
hope
I don't
you
get to
did feel comfortable, and we hope you had a shitload of fun, man, for real.
It's one of, the best
really.
one of the best compliments we've gotten so far. Thanks.
It means a lot. Lee Wargo, any closing words?
Subscribe. Listen to Mom
Eric.
Jeans.
We really, really, really appreciate it. I don't think we can say it enough. Super fans as we are, you are an incredible human, incredible songwriter, incredible everything that can be put into words. Thank you so much for joining us on Booze and Tunes, and hopefully we'll see you next time.
Absolutely, you guys. Thank you. I appreciate it. On behalf of myself and everybody in my band, like can't wait for y'all to hear everything that we've been cooking up, and I know like everybody involved in this project, like Art, Sam, Joel, everybody's been busting their butts to really make this happen, and so I'm excited for everybody to get to see it soon.
Well, shout out to every single one of those people, and until next time, Eric, we hope you have a great night. This has been Booze and Tunes. We love you, and thank you.
Thank you so much, dude.
I know it seems like I'm wasting my time away on things that still don't matter.